Welcome to Ultimate Manhwa Reader. Today's manhwa is the main characters that only I know. Enjoy the video and hit that notification bell as you like, comment, and subscribe to catch all our future series. Let's get started. Mother said no matter how hard life gets, I should dream big. That if I kept heading toward my dream, I would eventually wake up one day as the protagonist of my own life. I believed her, foolishly enough. Is this where I die? An injury caused by the cursed demonic spear cannot be healed by potions or story of healing. Perhaps an elixir could. As if I'd have any, maybe he might. But, Hey, Choi Doyoon, I could have defeated him on my own even if you hadn't intervened. Kika, of course, what's so funny? It's just that you said what I thought you'd say. I worked my ass off to get here and even teamed up with this psychopath for my survival. But to think that I would die saving him. You have an elixir, right? Yes, and you're not going to use it on me, right? An elixir's value is astronomical. I'm saving it for myself. You're not someone valuable enough for me to use this on. Valuable? Huh. What a fucked up world. Divine spirits, higher beings of the heavens, they watch humans struggle as their entertainment. Is he gonna die? He's definitely gonna die. I think so. I mean, it doesn't really matter to me, while also giving us trials and rewards. They found this bastard's cruel traits very entertaining. They didn't care about a minion like me at all. No one ever cared about me in the first place. Fuck this world, fuck the divine spirits, fuck you too. Aren't you being too harsh enough? Kang Yoyun, let me ask you one thing. Why did you do that? All you ever did was provide intel and watch the fights. Why did you intervene in the fight? I was just tired of leeching off you and this life in general. This is my limit. So you did that to save some civilians. Okay. A teller, the intermediators and onlookers who guided humanity to our own end and sold us over to the divine spirits. Amazing, you've all done very well with the survival. He's amusing. They are all like that no matter how many humans die. We will be looking forward to the next trial. The end is nigh. Please do your best. Go, Choi Doyoon. Hurry and leave with your little minions. What minions? Don't mind him. Why are you suddenly sad about me dying? Are you going to use the elixir on me? Goodbye. In the end, I failed to become the protagonist. In both the world and my own life, I was not the main character. I was nothing more than a side character who had no choice but to follow the bright spotlight of the main character. What was I living for? I hoped that there would be paradise at the end of this life. If I were given another chance, if I can right this regret, then I would climb higher than everyone else. So much higher that I wouldn't have to envy anyone else, so that I can be proud of myself. I want to live a life like that. That's the life I want. What? Where am I? Am I still alive? No, that's impossible. I was pierced by the cursed demonic spear. There's no way I am still alive. What are all these things? Seems like you're all here. A teller, this one looks different from the ones that oversaw the end of humanity, though. I will briefly explain the situation you are all in. You will be working as tellers of the Celestial Body Inc. You are all here to prove your skills. What the hell? The explanations end here. Now show us what you've got. What the hell? We're in space. Is he trying to kill us all? Activating Genesis Blessing. I can breathe, gasp Orithe. Mission: the first steps. You are now a teller. A teller is a being that presents the divine spirits with stories. In order to do that, you need to choose whom you will show. Goal: enter your first contract in case of success. Promotion as official employee. What the hell? A 1-hour time limit. After putting us into this situation out of the blue, and what I'll die if I fail the mission. What the hell kind of? That's Earth. Earth was destroyed a few years ago, so how is it? I definitely died, but I was reincarnated as a teller, and to the past. How? I'm not sure what's happening, but I'll focus on the mission for now. If we are in the past, then this must be before Earth was destroyed. It must be when the collectors were active. Even before the end of Earth, life on that planet was far from normal. Gates appeared all over the place and monsters came out of them, and monsters came out of them. Collectors were the people who hunted down those monsters. I guess I have to pick one of the collectors who don't have a contract yet, but something strange. Collectors need to enter a contract with a teller in order to receive sponsorship from a divine spirit to earn points. Points are necessary for collectors to become stronger, meaning that any sane collector is desperate for a contract with a teller. It's a win-win relationship. Isn't this far too easy of a mission? Let's see, my destination is Seoul, South Korea. It's hard to press the screen because my arms are so damn short. Ugh, do I not have any fingers either? Even mittens separate the thumbs from the hands. Most of them haven't even grasped their situation. Seems like it won't be any fun this time either. That's it. I suddenly changed. Is it because I was wishing for it? That's not what's important right now. Did you just see that? He changed appearances. How did that happen? He changed appearance. It takes about 2 weeks to change form, but he only took 3 minutes. How is this possible? This mission might not be boring after all. Seoul, South Korea. Where are we? The Collector Association. They basically became ashes when the apocalypse began. No, there's no time for me to get all emotional. I need to find the collectors first. The red dots must be collectors who are already in a contract, and the blue dots are the ones who aren't. If my assumptions are correct, the essence of this mission is whom I am going to choose for the contract. If I end up signing a contract with a collector who is not talented or skilled, I won't be able to attract the attention of the divine spirits, which means no points. What a high hurdle to jump. Hey. Who are you? Are you a collector? I'm just looking for someone. Don't interrupt me. What? Don't you know that only individuals are allowed in here? Are you perhaps a teller? Yes, I'm sorry, I thought you were human. Excuse me, this treatment tellers, it really hammers in the fact that I'm in the past. Well, whatever. Lee Danbai 25, people's names and ages, Danbai 25, Park T June 21, but this kind of information doesn't help me with the mission at all. I can't grab every collector I see to interview them. This is difficult, What books can they not see it? It's not the Genesis system showing them either, that means. Is it my own exclusive skill, time? It isn't enough, but I still have some time. It really worked, I just tried. I can read it right. Wait. This is way too up. I'm certain this skill is The others all found people to enter contracts with. I guess he's the only one remaining. I was excited to see how he'd do since he transformed so early. But there's only 1 minute remaining, it's basically over, no matter how talented he may be. Who are you? How did you get in here? I'm gonna call the cops if you don't leave right now. Hello? It is impossible to find one within a minute. Found you. Mixed world? In the mixed world, that is the world I currently reside in, even abstract concepts can exist. A place where concepts and ideas can exist. Only 2 ideas become a reality, such as myths, a hero's tale, legends, horror stories, etc. It's a world where physical and spiritual things are meshed together to form reality. That's the place I'm living in right now, so even if I were to learn such abilities, isn't this cheating? It wouldn't be out of norm. Name Kim Sang-duk, awakened 5 years ago. Abilities water cannon. Name Kim Sang-duk 31 abilities. Water cannon awakened date 5 years ago. Battle talents. Mediocre, born in a struggling a book where it not only shows their abilities but also the past that they've lived. Then is there a book like that for me as well? I guess not. Well, I wasn't expecting one, but it's a bit saddening. Although, why are the books of different colors? See if my guess is correct. I've only seen bronze and silver books, however, I'm sure there is a gold book as well. The better the color of the book, the more valuable life you've lived. And the aura emanating from the book shows the person's innate abilities and potential. Even if the book is bronze and the aura coming from it is silver, that person has the potential of becoming silver. To think the collectors that have signed a contract are able to see if it's a hit or a miss ahead of time. This is amazing. Then there's only one thing for me to do. I just have to go around to the areas with the most blue dots and find a person that has the most potential. I'm sure I'll be able to find a good one with this ability. Couldn't find. Damn it, why isn't there even one? The time is starting to run out, however. I can't settle for other colors knowing that there's someone with a gold color out there. In the first place, if this blessing that allows me to teleport didn't have a cooldown time, I would have been able to search faster. Ah, wait. Excuse me, what year is it? It's the year 20x, the year 20x, thank you. So it's 5 years before the end. What's with that person? Who's the collector that has yet to emerge in the spotlight during this period? It should be someone who will become active within the next 6 months. That's right, the one's called the Miraculous 3, Saint Bang Sang, Saint Bang Sang. Flame Knight Quan Inbium Sword Empress Kang Hiram. That's about it. Bang Sang kept his identity a secret, so finding him will be impossible with how little time I have left. Quan Inbium should still be in the us, he'll be hard to find. Then the one left is Sword Empress Kang Hiram, unquestionably the strongest of the Miraculous 3. There was an interview saying that she remained mysterious throughout the early days of her career. How this place is. A dorm, a person like Kang Hiram is living in such a place. Miss Kang Hiram, Who are you? How did you get in here? I'll call the cops if you don't get out right now. Hello, are you listening to me? Found it. Hello, you're Collector Kang Hiram, right? Yes, and you? I'm a teller from the Celestial Body Inc. That's assigned to Earth, Kang Yoyun. I came here to make a contract with you, really. Did I? Are you really here to make a contract with me? Choose the right person. Yes, that's correct. I came to make a contract with you, Miss Kang Hiram. Well, whatever, but my abilities are bad and I can't even fight. Who told you such nonsense? Everyone around me said so. That's why I gave up becoming a collector and thought about taking the test to become a civil servant. I was wondering why she was living in a place like this. It must be because she hasn't realized her talents yet. No, they're saying those things because they don't know how great of an ability you have. Really, of course, I'm a teller, the ones who formulate stories for the divine spirits. You can't believe a person like me, it's not that, but I will help you unleash your potential. You just have to sign right here. I will be a collector. Yes, you are more than enough to be one. Wait, where did I leave my pens? Here. Quickly. It's done. I made a vow before I died that I won't live a life of regrets. I'm looking forward to working with you, Miss Kang Hiram. Yes, please take care of me. I didn't expect to be reborn as a teller, but since it's happened, I'll do my best to live a fulfilling life. Sword Empress Kang Hiram, she was so noble-like that there were rumors that she was from a rich family. To think she'd be this different. Let's see. Whoa, what the? She has 3 main character specializations. Of the 3, one is even the story of Chuck Junkyun, 3 of the highest-ranked main character level talents. She hasn't even awakened 2 of them yet, if she were to awaken all 3. Yes, Mr. Teller, Miss Hiram, you can just call me Kang Yoyun. Do you know about your talents? Haha, I knows, my talents are really bad, right? During the basic training, we were instructed to not tell other people our talents, so we're in a contractual relationship. The name of the talent is Goryo Ira Swordmaster. Isn't that a joke of a name? This girl, everyone's dying to get their hands on a main character talent like this, but she's looking down on it. You haven't told anyone else about your talents, right? Yes, people usually don't ask. It's also embarrassing to say. Ignorance sure is scary. Are you perhaps disappointed that my talent is weird? You can't take back the contract. I'll be kicked out of this place at this rate. No, not disappointed in the slightest. Really? Yes, really. It's here, mission entrance ceremony. You have taken your first step as a teller, as you have been promoted to a full-time employee, so to congratulate you on your promotion, there will be an entrance ceremony. Details: attend the entrance ceremony. Miss Hiram, I have to step out for a second. So sudden, how long will you be gone for? I'm not sure myself, but it doesn't seem like it'll be quick. What equipment do you use, Miss Kang Hiram? I use a shield. Huh, you've got that instead of a weapon. Yes, despite not having any talents related to combat, my strength is awfully strong, so I thought that it would be best for me to go to the front lines with a shield. You must have used something else during basic training, right? Oh, I used the spear back then. The trainers there recommended it to me, saying that it has a long reach and is safe. She somehow chose everything but the sword, this Kang Hiram. Listen well, first go and exchange this shield for a sword, then go find an open area where you can practice swinging the sword. Oh, that's all I have to do. Yes, you'll see what I mean. How good the Goryeo-era swordmaster you have is. Make sure to practice like I told you. Ah, wait. A while later, I exchanged it like he told me, but will I be able to learn the sword if I just swing it around? I've never swung a sword before. Kang Yoyan, you dummy, you should have been more straightforward. How, what's this feeling? It's a strange feeling I haven't felt before. Just what? Man, it took longer than I expected. I wonder what she's doing right. Her form is steady, even when no one has taught her. It's not for no reason that she's called the Sword Empress. Whoa, tell her, Kang Yoyan, when did you get here? Oh, am I in the way? I didn't want to bother you since you were so focused. Oh my, it wasn't serious. Hee hee. Mission full-time employee of the poetry room, you who have finished your work and chosen your path as a new employee. This is just the first step. Your life as a teller will start from this point on. Front of you will not be easy. Start gathering the things needed for the future and create your own story. Target, create a library. Upon completion, a personal library. A mission for promotion, huh? Mr. Teller, what are you doing? I'm thinking of making a library. Huh? A library? Isn't that the first thing tellers do? Because I just started working as a teller. No way, you totally look like a veteran that's been doing this for a while. What do I have to gain from lying to you? A name for my library. You damn trolls. Do I have to make a name like this to get attention as well? Wait, looks like this guy has already started on his story. Let's take a look. He's being bombarded with negative comments from the divine spirits. It's a slime. This is the reason why you have to make a contract with a good collector, but that collector really is pretty bad. I'll leave the naming of the library for later and just make one first. Miss Hiram, are you ready to swing your sword a bit, huh? This place is a place modeled after legends, myths, and stories. It's an entrance to the world of thoughts, the words of thoughts. You know that us tellers, after contracting collectors, write stories, right? It means that we show our stories. Us tellers make contracts with collectors to show our stories to the divine spirits. Now, here's a question for you. Do you know what the stories we're trying to show entails? Wouldn't it be the life of the character? Well, it's something like that. However, the divine spirits, like the stories, are all different. That's why the genre in every story is different. But even among those, there's a genre that earns the largest attraction, and that is heroic tales. Miss Hiram, you will become the main character of the heroic tales from now on. Will I be able to do such things? You can. I will make it so that you can. Let's head inside first. This place is the Anvar Mountain Range's Kobold Mines. Do you know about the kobolds? I know a bit. Welcome to my library. I'm the owner of this library, Kang Yoyan. Aren't they the ones that were leaving negative comments in the room earlier? They must have come here out of curiosity. They're just raring for us to fail, huh? Miss Hiram, I'll be heading over to the observer's room to show the divine spirits your story. From here on out, you will be fighting alone. It'll be fine, you just have to swing your sword like you did earlier at the training. Mr. Teller, the kobold, Miss Hiram, you can do it, believe in yourself. Even if you tell me that, scared. I'm scared. Someone please help me. No. I'll die at this rate. Guide is at a loss for words for your performance. Drunk customer is happy at the sight of you being scared out of your wits. Explorer of pain is expecting you to get torn apart. I have to escape. Hey, look at her. Is that her, the one with nothing but brute strength? Even her talents don't seem like anything special. A healer would be more useful. Aren't you considered a civilian if you can't even form a contract with a teller? She'd be better off just trying for the civil servants test. Can I keep going like this? Run away. If I run away again, I'm a useless human being, so no matter what I do, nothing will mishire him. I've come to form a contract with you. Tell me pretty. I won't be able to face Mr. Yoonhyun. It doesn't matter what happens to me. Mishire him. Dodge it. I will no longer be afraid. That's it, King Hiram. That's how you use a sword. You have obtained 7. I did it. I really did it. Well done, I knew you could do it. But your fight is not over yet. This world is full of things that will bring you joy, so you can't stop here. Be more greedy, desire more. Can you do it? Ooh, yes, yeah. It's too early to be happy. Oh, what's this? 15 viewers in less than an hour. Is that possible? Celestial Body Inc., Senior Associate Teller Tardan. It doesn't make sense even if a department was pushing him. Kang Yoyan, he must be a newbie. You're telling me he's gathered all these viewers already? He must be using some kind of dirty trick. I'll need to check right away. What? Who is this collector? She doesn't have any protective gear on, and her weapon is just ordinary. I've seen all kinds of collectors, but this collector is stronger than any collector I've seen until now. And she's growing stronger by the minute. Kang Hiram, she's adjusted to her ability so quickly. How's that, divine spirits? This is her first battle. Isn't she amazing? But that's not all. She can do even more than this. XXX donated 200. XXX donated 150. XXX donated 200. XXX donated 150. Teller Kang Yoyan, what is it? What's this? Ah, that's the border. One beyond that point isn't the farming area. It's something the collectors agreed on making in order to stably bring in points. I see. She's already reached the border. That's impressive for her first time. Are you disappointed? Ah, yeah, a bit since it's over. I never said it's over. We got all the way here. We might as well go over to the end. Huh, you mean? Yes, you'll clear this entire mind realm. Mind realms can be eliminated from reality by clearing them. Once you clear a mind realm, a new one will appear in a different location. No one can figure out the story without entering the realm, so everyone hesitated to go inside. That's why people began suggesting that we don't clear existing mind realms. Is that okay? What's the problem? You can just say that I made you do it if a problem does occur. Plus, you don't look like you want to stop here. Is it that obvious? All right, I'll do as you say. Chaldra's guide agrees. Drunk customer is overjoyed at your decision. Now, divine spirits, let's all cheer Kyram on. It's no fun if we stop here. Wait, what is she trying to do? Cross the border? No, there's no way she can. A protagonist should never give up on their goals. That is what it means to be a hero. She really went in. Is she out of her mind? That's banned by the collectors. Things are not going as they should. In the Earth of the past, the story was full of adventure, but the collectors set up borders in the mind realms and repeated farming for safe point collecting. Because of that, the divine spirits lost interest, and instead began an apocalypse to try to get an interesting story. I know how this world ends. This world needs to change. Not by the intervention of an outsider, but on its own. Well done, Hiram. We're already at the deepest level of the mines. Hi, she looked really scary until just now. We're almost there. Why don't you take a break? Ah, sure. I was getting a bit tired. She was able to get here thanks to her special traits powers, but her body can't keep up with it. I'll need to have her do some endurance training later. How was fighting with the sword? The best. I should have started out with it. Huh, the book's brighter. I guess what Hiram accomplished today must have changed something. This is the last level now. Do you remember the kobolds that ran off earlier? Ah, yes. I assume they are all together waiting for you now. I think they have a leader. Their movements were too united. What will you do? You can stop here if you want. Ha. You're kidding, right? Did it sound like I was? I came all the way here. I might as well finish things. You're not going to just play dumb after making me cross the border, are you? Of course not. I take responsibility for my words. Then we're going, of course. I was going to convince her not to go if she hesitated even a little. I guess I won't need to. She's really determined. But it might be dangerous, so we should set a goal first. Do you know how to clear a mind realm? Yes, I did learn. Then explaining will be easy. This mind realm's clearing condition is a raid. It's best to kill all the kobolds, but you'll need to go after the leader first. There are all kinds of ways to clear mind to learn realms, but this one's pretty simple. All you need to do is defeat a certain monster. Nice. Then shall we get going? Wait, I think you should switch your weapon first. Huh, why? The sword will break mid-battle if you take that. It held up pretty well for a free one though. What now? You earned a lot of points on the way here. You can pick. I picked out all the best ones. Is there no discount? I need to make a living too. All the points I worked so hard for. Kang Hiram remaining TP. Wow, it's really nice. Looks a lot more modern than what you had too, but my points, you can just earn them back. Let's go. Kurg. It's all because of you guys that my sword broke. It's all your fault. You're all dead. Do you know how hard I worked for those points? Well, why? It's so good. I didn't know cake this good existed. Is it really that good? Of course, I never imagined that I could ever eat dessert this good. I'm so glad I got a lot of points from clearing the kobold mines. You're overreacting over some cake. You could eat cake all day if you keep doing this. Really? It's up to you how you use the points you earn. It's up to you how you use the points you earn, but it's also your responsibility if you gain weight from eating cake all day. You know that's really rude to say, right? By the way, you said you knew about my special trait, didn't you? I learned a bit while fighting with the sword, but what exactly is this Goryeo Age's swordmaster? Do you know about Chiak Yoongyong? Chuk Joon-kyung as a low-class military officer and a civil servant. He alone climbed the castle walls, which were possessed by the Jurchen tribe, and cleaned it out. He not only took out thousands of enemies that surrounded him all alone, but he valiantly charged into tens of thousands of enemies and slayed them down mercilessly. He was rumored to have surpassed human limits, leading people to give him a nickname, the Goryeo-era Swordmaster. Wow, so he was someone that great? Why didn't I know about it? His story could have even been made into a drama. That. His friend's name is a bit weird. What's the friend's name? I can't say it with my own mouth. Come on, you're making me even more curious, tell me. Stop, I can't say it, so stop asking. I'll report you for sexual harassment. What? You're saying I'm sexually harassing? If you're that curious, you should look it up yourself. Why do you even carry a smartphone? How bad could the name be? Pervert, I'll report you for sexual harassment. Thump, why are you taking it out on me? Anyway, you can think of it not being published because of that friend's name, but that doesn't take anything away from his valiance. The talent you hold stronger than you think. Then does that mean I have a really special talent? Just where exactly is the future sword empress? Was the word empress from my past putting up an act? Anyway, we don't have time to loiter around like this. We'll have to move up our plans. What plans? I'm saying that we need to work on your image. I haven't even finished my cake. Mr. Yoo-hyun, is it really okay? It looks good to me. You should be more confident. Now, before we go on with the story, what did I tell you earlier? Don't laugh stupidly and be careful of how I act in front of the divine spirits. Good, we can go now. There's more people than during the Chronicles of the Sword Empress. Did the word get out? Oh, that's right, the divine spirits. I've never seen Kang Hiram neatly dressed up. K is ed 300. If you were to do a survey asking what's the most important part of a character, most would say it's strength. However, if you were to ask what the second most important thing is, everyone will answer differently. Most would probably say something along the lines of leadership or viability, but if it were me, I would confidently say, looks. She's had a good base, but she never dolled herself up. Now, before you go into the mind realm, you should learn this. What's this? It's the story that I bought earlier. Is this your first time seeing it up close? All Tribulations sword skill, author's mercenary sword skill. Yes, I've heard of it, but you'll be seeing it more often now on. Miss Hiram's talents are really good, but you won't be able to handle all issues with it, so we should properly prepare. I see, thank you. How does it feel? It feels somewhat refreshing. That's a good reaction. Usually the collectors have a hard time taking even two in. But Mr. Yoyan, these stories. Whose points did you use to buy? Now, shall we get going? We should show the divine spirits a good show. Where is this place? What did I tell you earlier? Ah, right. Where is this? Where is this? I can see that it's a desolate place that doesn't get much traffic. Yes, so this place is the Labyrinth of Crete. To be precise, the maze Labyrinthos that's located in Crete's Knossos Palace. There's already been a couple of attempts to clear this place, yet it still remains uncleared. Why is that? They weren't able to figure out the clear conditions, not to mention that the maze itself is pretty troublesome. Don't make a sound, Mr. Yuhyun. Yes, they're all corpses. Seeing the degree of their decomposition, it must have been collectors that entered here recently. Viewers have already surpassed 100, they're even tellers amongst them. Their intent is obvious. They're trying to steal the ideas from someone who suddenly became popular. You can watch all you want, since our goal for today is to turn viewers into regular watchers. Here, take this. Isn't this a spool of thread? Labyrinthos is a maze that's really complicated. In the mythos, Theseus used this spool of threads used to get out of the maze. You should use it just in case you get lost. Then I'll be praying for your good luck. You just have to advance forward without looking back, as if something like this is nothing more than a trivial matter. Yes. While Hiram herself might not realize it, even her mental fortitude is way above average collectors. To think that she's not panicking after such a scene. A light, hold on, Miss Hiram. Bam, Miss Hiram. Tonight's dinner will be cowhead soup. Oh, come on, I said not to use those corny lines. Miss Hiram, the Minotaurus is way stronger than a kobold. Their skin is thick and strong, making it hard for you to hurt it, so it'll be tough to take it down in one go. You should do a hit-and-run tactic to tire it out and finish it off with a final blow. Miss Hiram, are you listening? What, King Hiram? Does she have no intention of backing off? That's King Hiram. She's already learned the sword aura. Sword Kai, also known as sword aura. A skill that people who have reached a certain threshold can use, one that lets them wield a weapon by imbuing their own Kai to it. Most characters don't learn sword Kai on their own and instead acquire it through the story. But Kang Hiram developed it all on her own, seriously. Such unbelievable talent. I didn't even have to do anything. The number of subscribed spirits has doubled. We're growing at an incredible rate. Yuhyun, something's weird. What's wrong? I took down the elusive being, but I still haven't cleared the mind realm. That's because the mind realm isn't over yet. What? You all must be curious as to why the labyrinth is still elusive, being taken down. This labyrinthos doesn't end simply because you took down minotaurs. Even in my past life, many characters tried clearing minotaurs. But none of them succeeded. It's still not cleared. That's because they didn't figure out the right method to clear it. But one day, a scavenger cleared labyrinthos. Thanks to him, I found out how to clear this place too. The way to clear this place is by escaping the labyrinth. I see. Then all I have to do is follow the yarn that I unraveled. You're wrong about that. Would take you back to the entrance. Usually the exits of labyrinths and mazes are away from the entrances. Then where's the exit? There. The ceiling. Do you know about Daedalus? Ah, yeah, I heard he's the creator of this labyrinth. He was a genius inventor, so much so that he created this complex structure of a maze. The problem is that someone managed to escape from the labyrinth, which was supposed to be inescapable. Was that person Theseus by any chance? That's right, yes, since Daedalus told him of the method of using a thread. King Minos trapped Daedalus and his son Icarus in the maze in a fit of rage. However, Daedalus still found a way to escape. Ah, is that? Did you notice there are feathers scattered all around the place? Yes, I know what to do now. I think this should be enough. How Yuhyun this is. Congratulations, Hiram. Icarus wings. You can use flight once a day. You got the hidden piece. I can't believe it. What are you standing there dazed for? You should say what I told you earlier. Ah, right. How lucky of me. Phew. You have cleared the mental realm's labyrinthose maze. An unbelievable feat. You cleared the mental realm all by yourself. What do you think, Yoyan? Awesome, right? Hoo yeah, they look great. Ahem, I'm also a full-fledged collector now. Plus, considering the points we've earned this time, I'm not the same as before. Hoo, what do you think? I'm pretty, right? I'm charming, right? I'm this time as before. Could you stop doing that? Hey, come on, don't be shy. My looks even work on the divine spirits. You do know I can tell you're just pretending not to like me when you love me, don't you? Come on, what do you think, huh? Stop that unless you want to get hit. You're so mean. Enough with the silly talk. Have you gone to the association? The association? Not yet. Why are you asking? It's about time you updated your class. You can't stay in class 9 forever, can you? You need to go to higher classes if you want to earn more money. I'll go there right away. Don't use the wings for stuff like this. Hiram, wait for me. If I send her alone, she's gonna be taken advantage of. Do you remember a collector like her? She's got an extraordinary aura around her. She doesn't look like your average collector, above all. She's gorgeous. I'm telling you this just in case. Don't even think about trying to show your wings off in this place. I have no thoughts like that whatsoever. Welcome, how can I help you? Her spirit's making him nervous. I know that feeling too. I felt it in my last life after all. We're here to get the reward for clearing a mental realm. What should I get for dinner? What? Reward for clearing a mental realm? I heard 2 mental realms were conquered recently. Don't tell me the person who did it is. Are they blinded by fame or something? I can't believe they crossed the border and cleared a mental realm. They won't last long with that selfish attitude of theirs. Didn't anyone else accompany you too? No, she cleared it all by herself. What? Then could you tell me the collector's class? No way, he's got to be lying. Class 9, 11C. I'll call the person in charge right away, so could you please wait for a while? Did you hear that? He said she's a class 9. I thought she'd at least be class 5. Enter clearing a mental realm a lie. Hiram, I'm glad she looks okay. Look at you. Do scammers these days just waltz in and lie through their teeth? This girl cleared a mental realm. What a joke. Where do you think you are? How dare a scammer like you run your mouth here? I can't believe this lowly class 9 just ignored me. So you can't even respond. Well, that's expected. A mere class 9 collector cleared a mental realm. Your joke's so bad that it made me laugh. Are you ignoring me right now? I'm sorry, but she doesn't really want to talk to you. And who the hell is this guy? You're just her manager. How dare you interfere with a matter between 2 collectors? I'd rather you call me her colleague than her manager. Her colleague? So you're a con artist too. I don't know where the hell you came from, but this is the Collectors Association. Unless you want to get beaten up, get the hell out of here. And if I don't, you little, just so you know, she can be pretty fierce. You better be careful. You fucking... Huh, what's your deal now? You better let go while I'm being nice. See, I warned you. I told you to be careful. Just what happened, I definitely remember up until outstretching my hand. No way to be apprehended by such a small woman. Kia. He lost again. I thought that human was class 7. Why is he in that kind of state? Even if he had put his guard down, that bastard. He was aiming for this from the start, you. Motherfucker. That's aerial arts. Are they thinking of fighting at the association? Is he crazy? Hey, stop. I can't forgive you. I'll show you how strong I am. I will rip that smirk off your face. Stay still. How? Oh ho, she mastered the heavy-weighted body on her own. I picked her due to her infamous title, the Sword Empress, but this is turning out better than I thought. Why are you getting shy? No way he used aerial arts but still can't get up. Is she really class 9? What are you doing over there? There is no fighting allowed at the association. Move aside. Who is causing this fuss? Their timing at intervening is late. They were waiting for the right moment. I'm certain there's someone ordering them from above. Just what is this fuss? To fight at the association? Are we laughable to you? Are you in charge here? Yes, but who are you? I am the colleague of the person involved in this incident. The colleague of the person involved in this incident? I think there's some kind of misunderstanding, but we didn't fight. We just had a slight conflict of opinion. Then the other person unilaterally started acting out, so my lady had no choice but to apprehend him. It was self-defense. So you're saying this fuss was just apprehension? Of course, don't you see how the lady has not a single injury? Is that peaceful expression the demeanor of someone who has just fought? We simply apprehended someone who caused a problem out of goodwill. If anything, shouldn't you be feeling thankful? Yeah, he's right. It was definitely that man who started the fight. It seems I've misunderstood. I apologize. Anyway, my lady needs to quickly receive the mind realm clear rewards. Just when is the person in charge going to show up? I am that person in charge. We are a bit late this time as we've fallen behind with all of our work, but I heard there was a fight, so I ask for your understanding. Anyway, I'd like to attend to you separately. Do you have a moment? I guess I do. Hire him, that's enough. Wow, that class 9 woman is incredible. Doesn't she seem really cool? She's had her debut as a collector quite magnificently, but the important thing starts now. I will mooch off everything you have. The book binding and the light that flowed from it was all bright silver. It's not gold, but he's not an easy opponent either. Even judging from the situation just now, he wanted to pressure us, but seeing how the situation wasn't flowing favorably for him, he changed his attitude immediately. The ability to judge the situation isn't a talent, rather it's a stage he's reached after accumulating experiences over time. Then this way please, he's truly like an old raccoon. I am Choi Jungmo. Although it's trivial, I hold quite a heavy responsibility at this place. I am Kang Yuhyun, and this is Kang Hyerim. From what I've heard, the two of you have cleared the mind realm. Not the two of us, to be exact. She cleared it on her own. Gosh, really? To clear it on her own? That's even more unbelievable. Everyone thought that until she showed her abilities. That is true, so what do you want from us? You speak quite strangely. All we are asking is for the due rights from having cleared the mind realm, perhaps. Do you not plan on giving us the rewards? When it comes to the rewards, I am not solely responsible for approving any decisions. Didn't you bring us here because you are in charge? I apologize because this matter is how it is. Choi Jungmo, you said, since things have come to this, I'll be honest. I had an idea that the association wouldn't give us the proper reward for her clear. No, just how? Let's not beat around the bush with each other. What's important right now is that you don't want to give us the rewards, right? Enough with feeling each other out, let's speak properly. If you don't clear the mind realm, a new mind realm will not be added. Because of that, the government has chosen to maintain the status quo, and the association and the collectors all accepted that choice. Yuhyun, you are hitting us where it hurts, so as not to make more work for the government and the association, so that the collectors could farm safely. The two of you have thrown water on the implicitly agreed situation. Are you aware of that? The reason the mind realm exists is to tell stories to the divine spirits and prove our value as collectors. But look at how people are acting now. They are violating all of that. Violating? No, this is reasonable. If a new mind realm is created, it'll take a lot of people and money to analyze it, which bears the risk of many people dying as well. We are purposely leaving the mind realm as it is to prevent loss of precious lives. Your excuse is quite impressive. We are doing this so things won't change. What if we do what you're saying and someone dies? Will you take responsibility? Why would we take responsibility? We are simply carrying out our given role as collectors. Not only are we not receiving rewards, but we are also being asked to take responsibility. How strange. Whether they die or not, that's based on their fate and abilities. Watch your words. I'm saying that while I may feel bad for their deaths, there's no need to take responsibility. People's lives are on the line. Just because it's unrelated to you, it's not something you can so recklessly talk about. People's lives are on the line. How laughable. So that people won't die at the end of that. How many people ended up dying? People dying from clearing the mind realm is a tragic thing. But by leaving the mind realm because you're afraid of it solves nothing. That's why we acted. Collectors are currently rotten. For their own safety, they are being cowards who don't challenge themselves. Are you saying you're different? Yes, we're different. Unlike others, we don't hide, pause, or stop others. So. Do you believe you can be rewarded for that? No matter what you say, nothing will change. That's society, and it is how the system functions. Got it? So this is the game you're going to play. Are you not afraid of the aftermath? Choi Jungmo, aftermath? What can just the two of you do on your own? Just the two of us? Well, maybe that's what it might seem like to you, but how will the others react? The others? Where are the others? Just what? Oh yeah, I didn't introduce myself. Allow me to properly introduce myself. I'm Celestial Body Inc.'s writing stories teller, Kang Yoon. Welcome to my library, Choi Jungmo. I thought he was just a manager taking care of a collector. However, his humble demeanor, his way of taking care of the collector as well as his adept way of negotiation. It's because these characters are far above those tellers who look down on humans and mock them. Though, when exactly did he start planning this whole situation? Since when is he? No, that's not the right assumption to make. This man before me was acting based on the presupposition of this situation from the very beginning. Given the situation, no excuse could turn things around. If the association's image is tarnished, and if bad rumors start circulating among the spirits, it could create trouble for all collectors of the association. I must find a way. Think there must be a good solution. Think there must be a way out of this situation. I'm glad your wits are sharp, Mr. Jungmo. I was actually hoping for him to be more foolish, but that's unfortunate. If he had refused to back down and clung on disgracefully, I could have mooched off even more from him. It seems he's quite intelligent. What do you want? I think I've explained enough already. Right, we'll give you a fitting reward for clearing the mental realm. We'll also grant you an extra reward for my discourtesy towards you too. You don't have to go that far, but it wouldn't be polite to refuse, would it? What do you think, divine spirits? Maybe this one time, considering his sincerity, it's okay to let it slide. Even if 99 people like it, one person may not. In the end, it's a matter of taste. But that doesn't mean I plan to let that one person who dislikes it act out. Block successful. That's best considering the atmosphere of the library we want in the future. Even still, things worked out pretty decently. Then I hope you make the deposit into the account by today. I'll make sure to do that. Alright, yes. You don't need to be so tense. I'm not asking anything strange. I just wanted you to find someone for me. Who are you looking for? Is there someone named Choi Doyoon among the collectors? Choi Doyoon? I've never heard that name. Are you sure he's a collector? He may be a collector or may not be. I don't know the exact details either. All I know is, right now he's around 18 or 19 years of age. His height must be 184 km, and though I don't want to admit it, he's got a face as handsome as a celebrity. Anyhow, I'd appreciate it if you could look into him. You can send me the information through the Genesis network. By any chance, do you know of any other traits he has? He's rude as hell, pardon. Well, I really thought I'd die of nervousness. You held on really well though. I desperately put on an act because I thought I couldn't afford to make a single mistake. Phew, that was exhausting. Since we'll have to do this often, it's better you get used to it. Can't I just do it as I usually do, as you usually do? Never. Whose library does this concern? Didn't you see everyone buzzing about you earlier? Your acting worked like a charm. You've been deemed a charismatic and intelligent woman. How awesome is that, really? Yes, everyone is probably admiring how beautiful and awesome you are after that. Do you want this hype to die down? You should push things through to the end. Imagine the future where everyone is praising you, you're famous, and you're enjoying yourself sitting on a pile of money. A pile of money. All right, we're done with today, right? I'll treat you. After all, I'm a promising figure. Dream on, we still have other matters to attend to. Other matters? Yeah, it's nothing much, just... Yuhyun, what's wrong? Something urgent has come up. I need to step out for a moment. What? I'll be back in no time, so don't worry. Would you like to move using the Genesis system? Ah, Yuhyun. Who are you? I asked you who you are, impolite brat. What on earth did Argyle see in this guy to personally summon him? Well, it's a good thing you came here. You must be the new recruit, I suppose. I personally came here to give you the honor of joining our pentagram division. I'll ask you one last time, who are you? Me, I'm Jin Poong, a member of the pentagram division. I'm your senior. So what business do you have with me, you insolent brat? How dare you talk like that to someone senior to you, you nameless rascal, you're arrogant beyond limit. Sorry, but I have a name, it's Kang Yuhyun, WH what? He already has a name, it took me over 3 weeks, yet he got his as soon as he joined. Your name is none of my business, all you need to do is shut your mouth and join the pentagram division. I don't want to. What? What did you just say? I said I don't want to join. Do I have to repeat that for you to understand me? You brat, how dare you? Do you know who I am? Of course I know who you are. I'm just giving a piece of my mind to a teller who's acting all high and mighty, relying solely on their meager authority and position. What the hell? How the hell does this brat dare to act like that? I heard he isn't a part of any division yet. No way has he joined somewhere already. What's wrong? Worried I might have joined another division? Then don't. I'm not a member anywhere yet. How dare you say that to a senior? Act like a senior if you want to be treated like one. You're not even an assistant manager yet. Despite that, an employee like you dares to say this and that about being a senior. As far as I know, the Celestial Body Inc. decides seniority solely based on performance and your position. How do you? Is it weird to you that I know this? You figured I'm just a newcomer, so I'd just cower myself if you picked on me, huh? You, do you even know which division I'm a member of? Return to that great division of yours and tell them that I'm never joining the same division as you. Pass this message to the teller who sent you here as well. If you want me to go there, at least send someone with some discernment, or just tell him to come himself. Got it, now get lost, you. Just you wait. Bunch of weirdos, you really came back in no time. Of course, I said I'd be back quickly. So what was this other matter you mentioned? Ah, right, I think it's about time. We hire a manager for you. This isn't the place either. If my memory serves me right, it should be around here somewhere. Here it is, here. This place seems lackluster compared to the other places. Is this really the place you had your eyes on? Yes, I'm sure of it. Hello. One sec. What are you here for? Hello. It's too late. No matter what you do, you won't be able to mend the relationship that was broken. Still, it might be fine for a while, but sooner or later there will be problems again. It's regrettable since it seems like I won't be seeing you around anymore. You know, you should stay away from a person like that who's lost all humanity and come with us. I'm sure that I can give you a good proposition. Hello. Aw, sorry, she has a different air about her, but she looks just like she used to. Is this place the Bequa management? I'll introduce myself first. I'm Beek Suryan, the CEO of Bequa Management. Anyway, you two are here to join us, right? Yes, the one who wants to join is this person over here. This chic and cool-looking collector wants to join. Is this a dream? Miss Hiram, you don't have to worry about putting up an act here. Really? Phew, that's a relief. I was really tired today, hee. I can see that she's a collector, but would you like to take a guess, huh? If you were a collector, you wouldn't bother coming with her to find a manager for her, but it doesn't seem like you're from a clan or from another management company. Could you be a teller, huh? Even Choi Jungmo was unable to guess that I was a teller. So, you know how tellers are usually different from regular people? You can't tell at a glance, but if you look closely, there's an aura about them that makes them seem like they're not a part of this world. Beek Suryan. While she is currently the CEO of a small management company, later on, after the end has started, she will become the leader of the Bequa squad who will lead many people. During the time when everything was decided by strength, using her impeccable decision-making, outlook, and charisma to become the captain. So, that's the reason why I thought you were a teller. I apologize if I was wrong. Yes, you're correct. I'm a teller of the Celestial Body Inc., Kang Yuhyun. Whoa, really? Oh my, not only a collector but a teller coming to my office. Isn't he amazing? He isn't just your average teller. Oh my, so how did you two meet? I was eating ramyeon at my house, but suddenly, really. So can I see the contract? Contract, then that means, let's make a contract. Of course, we should discuss the conditions. That's great, Miss Suryan, don't talk like it's someone else's business. You are the main character of this contract. A few moments later, this should be okay for the contract. Suryan, what does a manager usually do? Are they already on friendly terms? First and foremost, we provide support to make sure the collector is able to focus on their work. Our line of work entails the managing of the collector's schedule, food intake, condition, and coordinating. We do the part of a broker, as we also schedule interviews. You sure do many things. Do you have any other employees to help with the load? Nope, but I know how to do it all, so you don't have to worry. I used to work for a pretty well-known clan before I started this office. To be honest, I should be doing the driving as well, but I didn't have the money to buy a car after getting this office set up. You know how to drive as well? Yes. I have a first-class license as well as the one for large vehicles. Other than that, I have a forklift certification and I can weld. Why? It's just in case I decide to give up on this line of work. Anyway, I can do it. Please believe in me, you don't have to worry. I'll be the one to pick out the mind realms, gathering other characters, and scheduling issues. Anyway, as Miss Hiren has yet to have her name recognized, we won't be needing your services right away. Still, shouldn't there be something I can do to help? There isn't anything right now, but I'm sure something will pop up in the near future. If I were to consider Miss Hiram's progress, we'll have to attempt something good soon. When that time comes, Beek Suryan won't even have time to sleep or rest. Then we'll contact you when the time is right. Okay, have a safe journey back. I know this is random, but what is it? Do you have a dream? What do you plan on doing, Bequa Squad Captain? I wonder what you'll be doing when this tribulation is over and the world goes back to how it once was. When everything goes back, I didn't have a good life even before the end. Still, if I were to consider what I'd like to do after this, I just want to make a ton of money. I see, yup, she's the Beek Suryan I know. Then we'll take our leave, make a ton of money, huh? There's a reason why she got along so well with Miss Hiram. Mr. Yuhyun, doesn't it seem like that I would get along really well with her? I've only just met her today, but it feels like we've been friends for a long time. Is that weird? Not at all, hee hee really. I wonder if me and her were best friends in our previous life. Egg that bastard. What, telling me who's a part of the pentagram to get lost, not even going to bother treating me as a senior, that cocky bastard. I'll get him back, I'll make sure to get that cocky bastard back. But he's being protected by Genesis blessing, there has to be a way. Wait, that's it, there's that way. 1 week later, hey, look over there. The girl over there, isn't she the one who's been trending lately? They say she's already cleared 4 mind realms. I've heard she's become a class 7 within her first week of debut. There's a lot of people. Is the mind realm this time that dangerous? Yes, the mind realm that's opening this time is a really special one. Unlike the other mind realms, you can only enter it once every 3 months. Also, you won't ever be able to enter it again if you were to fail. Is there a reason you chose such a dangerous place today? You became a collector to become successful, right? Huh, yes, I am the same. I might be a teller, but my goals aren't too different from yours. I also want to succeed, to climb to a position higher than anyone else. That should be the same for you as well. Your goals and reason may be personal and based on your desires, however. I don't think that's a bad thing, but a half-assed desire only serves to hold you back. If you really have something you want, you shouldn't give up even if your bones break and your flesh shreds. Do you have the confidence to do such a thing? Hey, the mind realm is opening. I won't ask you to give me an answer right away, but you will need to answer sooner or later. For me, as well as for you yourself. Is it a large-scale war? Are we going to fight too? That sounds fun. Stop them with all you've got. Let's teach those dirty Ottomans a lesson. We can't lose, it's over if they get through us. Die. Help. Someone help me, I don't want to die. Help, moms, get out of the way, Mooms, where are you? Help. No, I won't let that happen again, I swore to myself. About a week ago, Celestial Body Inc. Let me tell you one thing you need to be wary of before the ceremony begins. This entry ceremony will be in unison with the invitation ceremony of the Divine Spirits. What, the Divine Spirits? Can we go to a place like that? There are going to be quite a few renowned Divine Spirits present, but the invitation ceremony isn't in the same room, so you won't be coming across them. Don't worry. Celestial Body Inc. The most well-known out of the 3 largest teller organizations. I've never been here before, but I'm honestly a bit surprised. A whole island. Hey, what are you doing here, huh? Why aren't you enjoying the banquet like the others? What's with this guy? He has horns. Did he only manage to change a part of his body? I don't really want to. You think you're better than us because you already managed to change your appearance, huh? No, I'm not. You better not underestimate me. I'll catch up to you soon. What an interesting guy. What? Is the banquet already over? Ah, please continue to enjoy the banquet. We're from the other departments of Celestial Body Inc. We wanted to get to know our new employees, as if they're here to check the performances of our first missions to try and scout us into their departments. We've got to gather the most useful guys and take them into our department. This place is now a battlefield of these people trying to recruit talented individuals. It's gonna be tiring if I get swept up in this. Let's get out of here. Ah, it's you, the newbie that transformed right away. I didn't believe it to be true, but it really was. Would you come to our finance department? Shit, already? No, you should come to my. Geez, I appreciate all your attention. How do I get out of here? Oh, wait, that person is. Let me get out of here first. Haha, you should have said so if you were here. What are you doing here instead, Geez, you don't recognize me. Please, catch on. Aw, sorry, I was a bit distracted. Hell yeah. Then shall we talk elsewhere? He's already taken. But was there a teller like that, right? I've never seen him before. Which department is he from? It must have been really sudden. Thanks for playing along. I escaped thanks to you. What? Why isn't he saying anything? Kinda creepy. Then I'll get going. You must be busy. How amusing. I made sure to disguise myself so that the tellers won't see me, so how is it that you were able to see me there? What? This is bad. This man is dangerous. What do you want? I was just asking out of curiosity. I don't wish to harm you. For now, at least. So, are you going to answer my question? How did you see me? I didn't. I just saw a book. I noticed a black book floating in the air and focused on it, which allowed me to see the man. It's my special ability. Special ability? I have a good eye, so I can see what others cannot. The same applies to you. I was a bit iffy at first, but when I looked around, no one seemed to have seen you. That's why I used that excuse. That's quite hard to believe. But it's the truth. I'm different from the other tellers. Ah, I noticed that. I've never seen a teller with a different appearance so early on either. Anyway, I do apologize for suddenly talking to you like that. Is that so? Ah, it must be fate that we met like this. Why don't we bet on something? A bet, so suddenly, I want to get out of here. It's simple, you just need to guess who I am. If you guess correctly, I will reward you accordingly. And if I don't, then you'll need to take responsibility for having interrupted my entertainment. Damn it, he's certain that I won't guess correctly, but it's okay, I just need to look at his book too. Oh my god. I can't open the book. You mean to tell me he's so powerful that I can't even open his book? In the mixed world, you cannot act out of line based on your level. The inherent power of the story does not allow for it. There are going to be quite a few renowned divine spirits present, but the invitation ceremony isn't in the same room. Wait, then is this man a renowned divine spirit? The largest 5 divine forces are Eden's heaven, Asgard's Eisen Soedinar, Hermopolis Ogdode, Olympus Pantheon, and Pandemonium, where the highest ranked of all stories reside. This ominous energy is suffocating me, this creepy-looking book, and the 3-headed snake. You're a snake that corrupts. A red dragon that sets flames, the one who was close to the brightest light, but ended up falling to the darkest pits. The man in front of me is Pandemonium's first-generation divine spirit. Satan. Haha. Correct, you guessed correctly. I didn't think you could actually do it. You win. Am I spared now? It was partly a joke, to be honest, but you've surprised me. Partly a joke. It'd make more sense for you to punish me for sneaking into the entrance ceremony. I can't be the one punishing you. Liar, he really would have punished me somehow if I had lost. Satan is a man of his word. Anyway, I lost. I should keep my promise. What should I give you? You're going to create your own library soon to show us a story, are you not? Will you build your library? Pardon, yes. So let's do this. I'll become your library sponsor. What do you think? I will become a reliable sponsor for your library. Satan's sponsorship. To get a sponsorship offer from such a high-ranking divine spirit, I'd be grateful to get even one mid-level, 3rd-generation divine spirit. This could be the opportunity of a lifetime, an ultimate opportunity that won't come again. If I just grab that hand then. But will this really be okay? Really, I apologize, but I must decline your offer. Can I ask why you want to reject the offer? Your sponsorship would greatly benefit the library, but then I'll lose my freedom over my library. In the worst-case scenario, I'll receive the hostility of the divine spirits from Eden. I understand where you're coming from. Even with all of that, doesn't it remain true that you will benefit? That is not enough for me. It's not enough. Pandemonium's divine spirits are definitely incredible. Especially you, Satan, are one of the 7 executives, so of course I'm eager to work with you. But the moment we work together, I can only have stories from the limited environment of Pandemonium, and even the authority of my library will mostly go to you, Satan. I believe in the endless possibilities and stories that I can show in my library moving forward. The path I must go forward on. So I must refuse is none other but mine. I trust you're wise enough to understand. Ha 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 ha, to think you would have bigger ambitions than even having Pandemonium for your own. No, it's not like that, don't worry, I am sincerely complimenting you. What you're saying is right. The moment I sponsor your library, I also obtain the ownership of it, which means that you will have to give up your own potential. But you didn't. You left the easy path and are choosing to walk the difficult one, which, in my eyes, seems foolish, but perhaps it's your foolishness that caught my attention. Let's end the conversation here. I am not ambitious enough to force my demands on someone who doesn't want it, so are you giving up? I'm not sure. Honestly, it makes me more greedy. To make me want to forcefully acquire you, what? I'll ask you once more, do you really don't want my sponsorship? Yes, I want the donations of divine spirits out of their own will without a deal like this. How ambitious. If another teller had said that, I would have punished them for being arrogant. But it'll be bad for my image to just hand it over with nothing to show for it. Since you won the bet, there is a price that follows. I can't fight now, but I will soon give you a gift with my name on it. I was truly happy to meet you today. I'll make sure to visit your library in the near future. How much time passed? The tellers might come to find me soon. Let's run from here for now. I just came anywhere to think there'd be a place like this at work, and it seems no one's coming looking for me. Okay, then shall I read to kill time? Okay, this book first. How strange for guests to come here. What did that light? That... A book that shines so brightly, and is of such incredible size. How valuable must the story within be? Who are you? Most people don't come here. I am a new worker in writing stories. What, a new worker? Haha, I was rude. Your appearance was so complete that I didn't realize you were new. To think I'd meet the rumored person myself. What brings you here, Elder? What else? I am the manager of this place. Do you work here? No, this is a place that all departments gave up on organizing. But now that I've retired, I said that I would volunteer to manage this place. Someone with a book like that retired. This employee definitely has an unusual past. Anyway, child, is it okay if you're not at the initiation ceremony right now? It's mandatory participation, but what you do after attending is up to you. Everyone was holding on to me and annoyingly telling me to join their department, so I ran. In my youth, that happened to me too, so does that mean you're not in any department? Correct, and I plan to keep it that way. To choose a path without allegiance, does that not frighten you? If I said I wasn't afraid, I'd be lying. But I still have a goal, is that so? So you have longing too. Longing? We tellers are not born biologically but created. We are born with some level of abilities, but we are a blank slate when it comes to what we will do and what we want to do. What we must do, the system may guide your way or the high-ranking senior tellers can tell you, but a path that you walk not because you want, but rather because someone is ordering it is fundamentally wrong. Regrettably, most tellers don't have longing. Very rarely there are tellers like you, who doesn't get swayed by others' words, tellers who have a clear path inside of their hearts. Follow me, I'll show you something fun. Since Celestial Body Inc. was founded, this is the place that stores all of the stories that have the most influence and responses in the mixed world. Also known as the Hall of Fame. In these stories, there are the lives of everyone. Incredible. This is the end. What? 30 years ago, life was completely cut off. The reason I brought you here is because I wanted someone to remember this place. It's now jammed deep inside a closet without a sign person who can know these stories that were once brilliant. If one day I disappear from this world, I would be saddened by the truth that nobody would know about this place anymore. That's why I brought you. Since you are the only guest who came to visit this shabby and old place. The other tellers right now just care about earning points and repeat the same stories. The old stories that made your heart warm in the end become cheesy products of an older generation. But I believe there will be a day when a story like this is necessary. After I died, if Choi Do-yoon kept living and defeated the trial, he might have been on this Hall of Fame. I want to be like this too. Elder, thank you for giving me this good experience. The initiation ceremony will end in 10 seconds. May I know your name, Elder? If you come visit this place again later, I'll tell you. See you soon. The initiation ceremony has ended. Miss Hiram. Miss Hiram, can you hear me? Yes, I hear you. Good, stay focused. Mr. Yuhyun, is this place a war zone? Yes, that's correct. The siege that signaled the end of the medieval era and started the current era. The final war in which over 150,000 Ottoman troops fought, ending the Eastern Roman Empire. It's the siege of Constantinople. The Roman Empire was destroyed when defeated in this war by the Ottomans. Could it be? Are we on the Roman Empire's side defending this castle? That's right. My previous life's Kang Hyrum awakened her skills here for the first time, earning the title Sword Empress. For the current Kang Hyrum to awaken the rest of her skills, this event is a must. Mr. Yuhyun, you're seeing this, right? Her voice is shaking. Yes, I can see clearly. Can we win this? I thought that it'd be easy seeing as how over 50 collectors entered, but I was totally wrong. Even 500 wouldn't be enough, since the defense force is only 7,000 while the enemy force is 150,000. And that's just the attacking force. If you count the support force, they'll number around 300,000. Do we even have any chance here? Why have all the collectors decided to come to this place? Doesn't seem like they were ignorant about it, Miss Hyrum. Currently, there are over 2,000 divine spirits watching this place. It is not just to show off the library. It is a chance of a lifetime for many to show off what they got in front of the many divine spirits. Even the divine spirits are no different. They're able to see the collectors they had no knowledge of. I'm sure that the divine spirits of other libraries are also watching you with interest. So clearing this mind realm isn't the goal, but everyone is here for their own benefits. The way you put it is a bit off, but you're not wrong. Tellers promote their library to the divine beings of other libraries, growing their library as a result. However, if you aren't able to show off your worth, you will also lose your divine spirits to the other libraries, but doing so is no different from the others. We will be aiming to clear this mind realm. What we'll pull out if it seems dangerous, but we should still show that we're willing to try. The Sword Empress wasn't able to clear this place before. Even though she did last the longest, she failed in the end. However, it's not an exaggeration to say that the current Hyrum has caught up to the past Sword Empress. It's worth giving it a shot. If there really is a chance for us to clear this place, then... Hey miss, are you planning on acting alone? How about working together with us? It'll be good to show off together and split the rewards, right? What, you're going to ignore us? Leave her be, she's just being cocky after clearing some mind realms by herself. She has no respect for others. Fine, you can do it all by yourself. Acting all righteous when it's obvious that you're trying to make use of me. I should keep my cool, even if it's for Mr. Yuhyun. Welcome, mercenaries. Huh, who's that? Who do you think? It's the illusionary being that's in charge of the defense for this siege. Didn't they say it was a king? I'm Constantinos Dragossis Paleologos. While I'm in such a state right now, I'm the rightful emperor of Rome. As the emperor of this land, I'd like to offer my gratitude to the brave mercenaries that have gathered here to help us defend our homeland. For every single person present here, that person, he's but an illusionary being created for this scene. But he seems so realistic. Looks like the preparations are already done. Constantinople siege will begin. Defend the castle and lead this battle to victory. You only have one chance. Breach for the Sultan. It's time to put an end to this war once and for all. Just this much will be a piece of cake. Is that all? Come. These guys aren't giving any text. Is this the right place? If you have the time to talk, use it to cast one more spell instead. That's not right. Hey, when is this going to end? Look over there, they seem endless. Damn it, I spent most of my strength early on. Dear divine spirits, not yet, I'm not giving up yet, I can still go on. They all must be worn out from going all out from the start. On the other hand, she's still doing fine. I wonder how things are in the other libraries. You are moving to the gathering hub for libraries. That's why I told you not to go all out from the start. Arg, damn it, this is so frustrating. Why did I have to make a contract with him? Damn it, talking like he was all confident going all out from the start. Look what happened in the end. XXX says this seems like it's the end. Let's move different library. XXX asks how's the Sword Empress library. XXX says she's still going strong. Should we go there? Let's go, the Sword Empress. Acting all cocky because he's been doing good lately. You dumbass, hurry up and fight. Can't you see that all the divine spirits are leaving? Damn it, do you think I can't see that? What do you want me to do? I should have known as soon as you went full throttle from the start. The tide of war is starting to shift. Everyone is starting to get tired. Even Kang Hiram has slowed down significantly. She seems fine for now, but she too will tire out soon. If there comes a point where you're backed against a wall, what choice will you make? The castle wall is down. How? It's the Orban cannon. Even in history, cannons were brought by the Ottoman Empire to take down the castle walls. Which is what they used just now. Stop them in their tracks, don't let them enter. We need assistance, quickly block this opening. Hey, what do? We'll end up dying at this rate. Mercenaries, please lend us your strength. We will be able to defend this with your help. I plead to you, please help us protect my people, my homeland. That's right, there's still hope. If the collectors all work together, we'll be able to push them back and set up a defensive perimeter. Everyone, let's. I can't do this, I'll end it here. Damn it, I give up as well. I never intended on putting my life on the line in the first place. What are you guys doing? If you guys all leave now, the defense, what defense? Can't you see that we're all about to die? You might not know since you're still a newbie, but this is just that kind of place. Do you think everyone failed? Everyone failed for no reason. You just have to hold out as long as you can before running away. But if we do that, what about the soldiers protecting this place? Soldiers, the people here are all made up illusions. They're all fake. What do those fakes fighting and dying have to do with me? Stop bothering me and get out of the way. If you want to die, you can die alone. They're giving up this easily. Everyone became a collector with their own goals in mind. Isn't that why everyone is fighting in the mind realms? What should I do? Welcome, mercenaries. I'm Konstantinos Dragosi's Pale Alogos. I may not look like it at the moment, but I'm the Roman Empire's emperor. As the representative of this place, I would like to express my gratitude for your presence here as reinforcement. I would love to give you a better treatment and welcome than this, but I already know, damn it, I can't do this anymore. How are we supposed to do this? I'm out. I don't want to die. That all the mercenaries will run away to their actual world, leaving us to die. I've experienced it countless times in this endless loop of hell. Despite that, I cannot stop fighting, a world whose end is already decided. Even if I'm not a real being. How could I stand and watch my own people die? If this is the prophesied fate, then I'll do my best to fight against fate. I will never give up no matter how many times I die. There's the enemy's general. Kill him and offer his head to the Sultan. I'm going to kill you. Huage. What, that woman? She's one of the mercenaries from earlier, are you? Joan of Arc. Why haven't you run away? We can't turn the tables on this war anymore. We still need to fight. I don't want you to die in vain. That's shocking. All the mercenaries that have come here have run for their lives. You remember it all. You must be surprised. We were created in this place, after all. I assume the real man who had my name lived long ago in history. What I am now is just his remnants. That's not what you are. I think of you all as living people. That is why I decided to help you and the reason I'm still here. You think of us as people, do you not want me to? Something deep within my heart is burning. A fire within is rendering me speechless. It's neither rage nor sadness. This is, of course I do, joy. Joy, you're saying that our lives, the things we wanted to protect, are valuable and real. How can I hate that? I really appreciate it. What are you all doing? It's an opening, slay them. Stall some time for us. If we set up a defense formation, they'll have a much harder time, of course. Protect our front lines, the people, the nation. And our savior. Hiram's book is turning silver. She's caught up to herself in her past life. Show us Hiram, show us your fight. Die. Hey, your collector looks like she's struggling. Why don't you give up? Yeah, she's done enough. She stayed behind thinking she's all that, and now look at her. Cue cuck. She won't be able to hold on much longer, hey. Shut up, you idiots. What, are you deaf? I said shut up. You tucked your tails and ran away. Don't you have any shame? Did you think you'd get something if you stayed behind in my library, or are you wishing for my death? Thinking she's all that? Greedy, you guys can't even do shit. You're all just garage. You treat your collectors like machines just for collecting points. Where are you getting the odysseys to look down on others? You shut up and just watch if you know your place. Hiram. Dragices, the last line of defense is falling. The last line of defense is falling. Fall back. No, it's over if they go down. Shit, then what are we supposed to do? Tess. I need to stop them, even just one. Why don't I give up? Why don't I stop? It's all over if I die. Shouldn't I get out of here? I don't know, but I feel like the moment I give up and run away, I will lose something important to me. Tess. They're down, kill them. The damn Ottomans, protect the Saintess and His Majesty. Kill and loot them all. I believed we could win. I was full of pride that I did what others couldn't, so I thought everything would go my way. What should I do now? Kyoka. Damn it, there are way too many viewers for me to do anything. Will you block? If I don't block all of these people, then my library will. Quiet down, what am I supposed to do? What? The divine spirits all stopped talking all of a sudden. What happened? The one smiling from the darkest abyss is entering the library. Satan. Because everyone's nervous, the divine spirits are shocked at your response. But you're a bit late. I thought you'd get here as soon as I open the library. I'm a busy man myself. I came here because I happen to have the time. Seems like things are turning out to be pretty interesting. It's going to get even more interesting from here on. I'm done just sitting around. Leaving the integration area and entering the mind realm. Hiram, it's all over. Yuhyun, you can give up now. You'll die if you stay here. You did your best. There are things you can't control. That's right, some things are just impossible. Then will you give up? No. I know that I'm just being stubborn. Like you said, there are things you just can't do in life, things that you can't reach no matter how hard you try. But even then, how can I just give up? Why are you saying something so cruel? Everyone told me that I'm hopeless, that I should just give up being a collector. It was just for a moment, but I did want to give up. However, you came to me and told me that I'm talented, that I can do something others can't. Thanks to that, I learned a lot about myself. That's why I'm where I am right now, and I just realized what it is that I want to do. I don't want to run anymore. I'm sick of running away. You will die, Hiram, I know. But I still don't want to give up. I'm sorry, I'm really stupid, being so stubborn in such a crucial moment. I see. Die, you witch. I need to block him, I can't move. This is where I die. I'm sorry, Yuhyun. That's good. Yuhyun, that's undo. Genesis blessing has been undone. It's a bit late to say this, but I've always wanted to be the main character. The regret that I was unable to fulfill the dream of my younger self, the hope that mother planted within me. All those things tangled amongst each other. Choi Do-yoon's one sentence was what set fire to that bundle of complex emotions. You're hopeless, the past me believed him. I was useless, so I gave up early on my dreams and began working for Choi Do-yoon. But Hiram is different. She held on to her will until the very end. Even when faced with death, she stood her ground, confident and beautiful. So I can't just sit and watch, Yuhyun. Are you insane? What if you die? You're not protected from danger anymore without the blessing. I just felt this was what needed to be done. Just as you thought. I'm just as determined as you are. There are more than 1,000 viewers. Don't you think it's quite the fabulous stage for a nameless actor's debut? Ha ha ha. Thank you, Yuhyun. I'm leaving it to you. All right. Open Dimension Shop. People say that tellers are onlookers, they never intervene in situations. Tellers agree that there's no need for them to intervene. Do tellers have no obligation to fight? Must they just watch, protected by the blessing? No, there is no such rule. People just considered it to be an unspoken rule. The reason I made up my mind to fight was that I will use a method that no one has ever used before. To step onto the stage. Kill the witch, we can win if that woman is dead. I won't let you do that. No one shall pass, Yuhyun. Thank you for giving me courage. For telling me that I can keep going forward. Who is that bastard? He's just one person, why can't we get through him? Because I'm strong. And for giving up on the blessing and fighting alongside me. So I will also fight. I'm almost at my limit. How much longer do I need to hold on? Let's go, he's tired. This is our chance to kill him. Wait, look, what the hell is that? Kang Hiram has fully awakened Body Sword Unison. Kang Hiram has fully awakened Heavenly Sword Path. What is that? Fall back. I didn't expect her to become this much stronger. I don't know what happened, but thank you, you've given us time to stop them. That was only a temporary measure. It'll stop them for now, but once they recuperate, we'll go down. I'm aware, but there's nothing we can do. In the first place, we don't have the forces. No, there is something we can do. The war here won't end like other wars do. I'm sure you already know. We need to kill their leader. That's the only way we can win. Is that really possible? It sounds impossible, but it's not. It's definitely doable with Hiram. They're backing off right now. We're way outnumbered by the Ottomans. It'll be hard to come back from this mission alive. We need at least 300 men for this mission. Can you do it? Your Majesty. Men, I've accumulated an immense debt with you all today. You have given your everything to protect this nation. I said that the gods would help us to win this war, but that's not going to happen. It's us who will protect this city and land. I must ask of you to protect our homeland with me till the end. Those who will be with me remain here. This is neither an order nor a demand. You may leave if you wish. You have the right to choose. Is anyone willing to go with me? Thank you. Now let's go. Dragosses, you just won't give up. But something feels different this time. The reinforcements should have all run by now. Were there still some left? Sir, look over there. The Romans are coming. What are you planning? Everyone, attack. Fire. Arrows, stop them. Everyone, Hiram, don't look back, but they came here knowing what would happen. In order to protect their nation and families, don't pity them. If you're really that sorry, then succeed no matter what. Open a path. No, I need to go help Saintess. We'll take care of things here, don't worry about us. That's the Sipahi. Hiram, get off. Run, Hiram, don't look back. Only look in front of you. They're headed for the Sultan. Stop the witch. Out of my way. Faster. Stronger. For survival. To save others, Hiram, we're almost there, that's the Sultan. It'll be too late if we have to bring down the soldiers in front of him. Hiram, I'll hold up the shield. Let's use it to launch you up, huh? Now. Hiram, fly. Firestopper somehow. Amazing. Dragossi, my arch-nemesis. We've won. We won, we really won. This was it. This was what I wanted to see. The sight of them smiling and filled with joy, not pain. Truly thank you. Although we are only beings made for this world, I will never forget this kindness. We weren't made. You are smiling in joy and shedding tears, aren't you? You are living people. Please do not belittle yourselves. As one proud being to another, simply thanking me is enough. Is that so? Haha. I want to reward you both somehow, but I doubt I could ever express my gratitude with something as mundane as money. So, I will bestow upon you knighthood. What's that? What's wrong? In the traditional Roman Empire, knighthood holds a heavy significance, and in the mixed world, even more so. Being knighted grants one the great power of storytelling. It's a precious present you could never obtain with points. Noble and strong people. In the name of Konstantinos Dragasis Paleologos, I grant you the distinguished honor of knighthood. You have obtained the title Distinguished Knight. All physical and combat abilities will significantly increase. I hope pure glory lies ahead for both of you. Saintess, thank you. We will never forget you. Thank you so much. We did it in the end. Yes, we did it. I thought we'd fail, but we did it. The beings of the upper realm have spoken your names. No one else from the lower realm has accomplished this feat yet. Your names will be celebrated throughout the mixed world. Haha. There's no going back now, right? Yes, but we'll still stay together, right? I don't know what the future holds, but no matter what, we will fight side by side. That's all that matters. Your names will be imprinted on the world. You are worthless. That's what everyone said. Although I tried to fight with that world, I was too weak and eventually gave up. But I won't do that anymore. This is my first story. That will set the stage for this world. Yes, this is Bequa Management's Beak Suryan speaking. How can I assist you? You want an interview? Our schedule is fully booked, so it won't be feasible for the time being. Yes, so when it becomes feasible, she really seems busy, but she really is good at her work. Yes, please contact me next time. Goodbye. Anyway, Yuhyun, are you really giving up the blessing? Of course, that's how I can touch him like this. If you don't move right now, I'll flick you. Isn't it dangerous to give up the blessing? Yes, well, during battle, I can't escape to a bystander's room or teleport. There are a lot of limitations. Regardless, since I'm fighting with Hiram, you might as well think of me as a collector. Yup, Yuhyun and I have a closer relationship than any. Didn't I tell you to move? Suryan, you seem quite tired. Are you okay? Yes, well, I get so many phone calls. If anything, I'm happy. I still can't believe it, to think that just the two of you were able to clear the notorious mind realm. I honestly didn't think we'd actually succeed either. But don't just accept any request. We don't have the time to accept all of them right now. I'm well aware of that. I've been rejecting clan offers, but I can't ignore the people from the news that are reaching out to me. We've already received a few commercial offers. Commercials, reject those. Unless they are from major players, we won't benefit much from agreeing to them. After the battle, many divine spirits have offered donations. I should have closed that off completely. And having too many subscribed spirits is now a problem. We need to establish some rules soon, but there haven't been any major issues yet. The divine spirits are keeping quiet. That's because of this. Oh, what's that? Is that perhaps the fruit of life? Yes, looks like you know of it. That's because to assist collectors, one must be well versed in myths. I received it as a gift after the Battle of Constantinople. I hope you use it well. You got that as a present. To give this while other divine spirits were watching, I can imagine what he was thinking. This teller is mine, so cast your eyes elsewhere. Why is this that incredible? Hey, you don't know about the fruit of life. It's one of the two renowned fruits in the Bible. Correct, though it's small, it's an item you can't buy even with 10 million gold. But if I carelessly consume this now while I'm low class, my body wouldn't be able to handle the excessive vitality and would explode. To give something that I can't even eat right now, he sure is a sly fox. What a message. Strange, I thought I blocked all messages. He who resembles the glittering light is requesting a private meeting with you. Everyone, please excuse me for a moment. An important guest has arrived. What? Yuhyun, wait, who is it? So this is the space for private meetings with divine spirits. I've never even come here in my past life. Welcome. Damn it, what happened? Jinpung's room. How did he clear Constantinople? A feat even I couldn't. He even renounced his blessing, teamed up with a collector and survived. It's possible to clear Constantinople with just two. I heard the teller gave up his blessing. Fearless legend. Crazy. If I give it up, will my subscriber spirits increase? They'll end in 3 seconds. Lol. The drawbacks of not having a blessing are immense. Where did he get a collector like that? She's a monster. FR. If I can't crush him, the department will punish me. I need to somehow block high. Wait, since he gave up his blessing, I can directly attack him now. Although I can't knock down that collector bitch, if things come to this, the story changes. Kakek. Kang Yuhyun, I'll make you pay for fearlessly relinquishing the blessing. Welcome. This person is. Thank you for responding to my sudden request, Archangel St. Michael. It's not a problem. I never expected a request from Eden. Please have a seat. This wasn't here just now. You aren't surprised? How could I not be when such an important person has come to meet me? Who wouldn't be surprised? You seem pretty calm for a person that's saying such things. The reason why I called you here is to verify the rumors going around. Is there anything that comes to mind? Is that? You must be talking about Satan. Michael has always been Satan's arch-nemesis since ancient times. Let's just say it's a misunderstanding. I'm not affiliated with Pandemonium. That's reassuring. But it's strange. I didn't think Eden would think well of my library. Being swayed by rumors is something foolish people do. Also, after checking things out, I found out that you don't really have any ties with Pandemonium. However, it is true that you and that evil monster are acquainted. So you're asking what our relationship is. I first met Sir Satan at the entrance ceremony. We just talked for a while and then we parted ways. And he gave you the fruit of life just because of that? I know this may sound cocky, but it seemed like he took an interest in me. I've even had a hard time trying to decline his offer to become my sponsor. Why did you do that? Aren't sponsors very important to tellers like you? They are, however, people have different values. In my case, I felt that my goal is more important than that person's sponsorship. Well, he ended up liking me more, saying that I wasn't easy to win over. I see. As expected, it's better to verify rumors in person. I guess it would be safe to assume that you have not sided with Pandemonium with this. Then, I'll take this chance to ask you. Are you willing to be sponsored by Eden? I was wondering when he'd bring this up. I expected this since they didn't just send any angel but Michael himself. Eden, he's the one with the greatest divine force in the mixed world. He has a good image, and thinking about his influence in the mixed world, it's definitely a great offer. However, I'll have to decline. Can I ask you for your reason? It's for the same reason I declined Satan's offer. Because of my goal, I don't plan on taking on any sponsors. I do not want my library to be aligned with any sides. Could I take that as you saying that the stories you're trying to tell do not only contain good but evil as well? It's not that simple. It's just that I want the story I tell to be free from any influence, and I am sure that that story has never been told of before. You can think of me as cocky. However, if you feel that it's questionable, you can simply watch the path I'm taking. Aren't you curious about the direction and the ending of the library of the teller who had declined the offer of Eden? While Michael is a being that borders on greedlessness, it doesn't change the fact that he's one of the divine spirits that yearns for stories. While he might not act like it on the surface, he is burning with curiosity on the inside. Are you saying that you want to have both Eden and Pandemonium at once? Understood. We from Eden shall respect your wishes. The story you're attempting to tell has piqued my interest. That's why I'll confirm it with my own 2 eyes. I'll show my gratitude for taking the time to meet me separately. Gratitude? It'd be bad on Eden's images if I were to just leave after asking you to come over like this. It's a personal sign of thanks. Please take it. This is... So, you got this from a customer. It's pretty big. I wonder what kind of egg it is. Well, if you think about it, a dragon could pop out of it. Isn't it obvious? If a cute dragon comes out of it, it'll think of me as its owner and act all cute towards me. Hum. That's what I said, but it shouldn't be a dragon. To Eden, dragons are a symbol of disgust and evil. Oh look, looks like it's about to hatch. Owl. It's an owl. Oh my god, can I pet it? It's so cute. Wah, it must not like me. It was just born. Of course it'd be wary of you. I guess it's acknowledging you as its mother. The symbolic creature of Satan is a snake, and the animals that eat snakes are owls. You can tell he did this on purpose. Is he saying they'll catch me if I act up? It even has a booklet. It's a heavenly owl, so you have to name it right. How about Uli? Are you kidding? What kind of name is Uli? Uli is a bit. I thought it was a cute name. How about you name the owl Mr. Yuhyun? You are its owner after all. Then. Bkyo. Your name will be Bkyo. How is it? Did you get some farming done? It wasn't as much as I expected, but it was enough. I see. I'm about to start now. Kang Hiram might be famous among normal citizens, but isn't that the Sword Empress? Whoa, it really is the Sword Empress. For collectors, she's like a demon who wreaks havoc everywhere she goes. Unlike the other collectors that are keeping the mind realm alive and farming stories, Kang Hiram destroys any mind realm she enters. There are so many people gathered here. The entrance is in the city's center after all. Also, it's a mind realm good for farming, so many collectors gather here. As such, collectors call her Big News. The farming spot breaker is coming. Damn it, I didn't even get to farm today. Arg, I should head in quickly. Seeing their reaction makes me want to clear the mind realm faster. Looks like she's already gotten used to her nickname. Miss Hiram, please step aside with Bikyo for a bit. I want to make an announcement before I open up the library. Okay. The library has been opened. Over 2,000 people joined instantly. Did the rumors already spread that much? Welcome to the story of the Fighting Teller and the Sword Empress. Some of the divine spirits are asking you to start the story quickly. Some of the divine spirits greet you. Some of the divine spirits are telling others to shut up. I miss Satan at times like this. Everyone, please calm down. The reason why I opened up the library earlier than usual is to make an announcement. Thanks to all your support, my library has grown significantly. I'm thankful for that, but it's been real tough on me managing things. That's why I plan to announce some rules from now on. First, no forming cliques within the library. That's not too bad. Then why is it not allowed? Okay, too bad. Guess it can't be helped. Second, no mentioning of other libraries or collectors is allowed. It's due to it being a possible cause for arguments. Third, unnecessary label or hate speech of other factions will be dealt with strictly. Aside from those, any over-the-top comments or requests through donations will be dealt with. He's really strict. I came here because of the rumors, but this is making me want to leave. Would you like to block this user? Of course, you're free to leave. Most of the divine spirits are impressed by your swift actions. You think you're special because you're talking through donations. Hey youngster, let's take it easy, okay? I'll send you a lot of donations. 1,000. It's a pretty big amount, but rules are rules. If I make exceptions, then there would be no need for them. White King of the Sea of the Setting Sun has donated 10,000 TP. Even now, all of the divine spirits have their mouths open in shock. This little. Look at this bastard. White King of the Setting Sun Sea, a great power with that nickname who can donate that amount of points. There's no doubt about it. The one affiliated with the Heavenly Realm's 36 heavens, one of the great divine forces of the Dragon Kings of the Four Seas, the Western White Dragon. I did think that some famous divine spirits were going to slowly make their way to the library, but I didn't think it'd be this fast. To have one of the Dragon Kings of the Four Seas visit my library, I was really surprised. White King of the Setting Sun Sea is raising his chin. White King of the Setting Sun Sea has donated 10,000 TP. Don't go hard and be moderate. How much do you think we really talk amongst each other to do that? Haha, moderately. Moderately. I apologize, but I can't do that. All divine spirits are silent. White King of the Setting Sun Sea asks what that means. I'm telling you that no means no. Wasn't my answer enough? It seems his pride was hurt. Well, there was probably nothing he couldn't resolve using points until now. But I'm different. Even if you give more points than this, it's pointless. It's the rule I made, so I'm no exception to it. No matter how many points you try to bribe me with and you try to coerce me with power and authority, there will be no case where I change what I've decided. In regards to you, at the very least, Western White Dragon. What the? For an upper realm being to display power in the lower realm, he must be really angry. But Genesis system activated. As long as the Genesis system governs the mixed world, he won't be able to unleash his power recklessly. A lowly teller, all you have to do is take the money I give you and crawl as I say. There's nothing that can't be done with money. I'm thankful for the donations. Would you like to block White King of the Setting Sun Sea? But you've just made a teller hate comment. Congratulations on graduating. White King of the Setting Sun Sea has been removed from the library. Donations are donations and rules are rules. Of course, this is the beginning, so please understand. If even without punishments we can maintain a good atmosphere, I can relax the rules. You bastard. He bypassed it. White King of the Setting Sun Sea has entered. To go against the will of the system, I understand you're angry, but don't you think you've crossed the line? Shut up. How dare a pathetic teller say such callous words to me? After accepting all those points, you chased me out. To disdain me, one who belongs to the great divine forces, is a big crime. Do you think you'll get away with insulting the heavenly realm's 36 heavens? I have never insulted the great divine forces of the heavenly realm's 36 heavens. And I have never insulted you, Western White Dragon. I simply removed a guest who violated a rule. Yaowu, how dare you speak with that mouth of Yaoers? He resembles the glittering light, has donated 100 TP. Just what's going on? Michael, wait, why is he? System anomaly detected. External interference confirmed. Excessive power usage detected. Entering procedures based on system rules. The Genesis system has a compelling force strong enough that even higher-ranking divine spirits can't ignore, for a mere barely mid-ranking spirit to go against the system. He'll be sick for at least a few dozen years. White King of the Setting Sun Sea is forcefully evicted. Although we had a brief commotion, following the rules prevents such incidents. This was an unusual case. Anyway, if any divine spirits have complaints about my rules, please raise your hands. All divine spirits say that they have no complaints. All divine spirits are watching he who resemble the glittering light. Ah, the Michael effect really works. I see there are none, then we'll carry this out immediately. We are thinking of clearing another mind realm today. A place like Constantinople from the other day will be too much, so we're planning on going somewhere a bit easier today. Some of the divine spirits are disappointed, saying that their expectations were let down. Don't be like that, we're not just entering the mind realm to play around and farm. Are you ready, Hiram? Yes, I am. The mind realm we are targeting today is the Theodolent Wetlands. It feels quite different from the mind realms we've done until now, right? The divine spirits agree. First, we should find where the boundary line is. Hiram, I'll provide you with the briefing first. Hey, if you don't mind, can we hunt together? Is it just the two of you? Yes. Normally, we work as 6, but we lost 2 due to circumstances. Do you want to work together? I thought it'd be okay with the 4 of us, but it's a bit difficult. Do they not know me and Yuhyun? Well, if they're not up to date with the rumors, they might not know. But since we're here to clear the mind realm, we can't team up with people who are just here to casually farm. Thank you for the offer, but... Oh, that's great, we were actually looking for a party too. Oh, I see, perfect Yuhyun, just why? Oh, perhaps. A pretty blonde woman and an incredible body. I hate to admit it, but she's really charming. I thought it was weird that he showed no reaction even when I touched him. But was that his taste? Then let's do our best together. Yes, thank you. Hiram, say hi. Nice to meet you. What was with that pause? Then we'll bring our stuff first. Okay. Hiram, yes, Yuhyun, I understand. Everyone has different tastes. Of course, I never imagined that would be your style, but if I diet, I can also. What are you saying all of a sudden? Please protect your image, Hiram. Yuhyun, suddenly in a place like this, the divine spirits are watching. Not that I'm complaining. Listen well to what I'm about to say, Hiram. That party is made up of scavengers. Scavengers, they make a living by secretly collecting or stealing the stories and texts left behind by other collectors in the mental realm. The reason is that they find it difficult to hunt elusive beings on their own but want the byproducts. So is the reason those people approached us to form a party in order to steal our stories. I'd call them saints if they end it with just that. Among the vicious scavengers, there aren't just thieves but also murderers. Those 4 who just came up to us are probably that sort of vicious scavenger party. If that's what you say, then it must be true, but how did you know those guys were scavengers? Do you remember what they said earlier? They said they tried hunting here but found it too difficult, but their clothes were way too clean for people who attempted to hunt. This place is a swamp where water comes up to your ankles. The slightest vigorous movement splashes the mud around. If you fight here, you can't help but get your clothes dirty. Above all, what's more suspicious is how they approached us without any hesitation, acting as if they didn't know us. Don't you think we're a bit well known, even if they really don't know us? Isn't it suspicious that they'd approach strangers without any wariness to ask them to join their party? Then why did you accept their offer? If they have ulterior motives, you could have rejected them. Where's the fun in that? Let me ask the divine spirits. We have villains in front of us right now. Villains who conceal their true intentions, hiding knives behind their backs as they approach us. They see us as perfectly easy prey. If people like that come up to you, would you just avoid them? Would you have done that in our place? The divine spirits are saying that they cannot tolerate any such thing. Most divine spirits are saying you must crush the opponents completely. He who resembles the glittering light shakes his head, saying you must not let this slide. The plan is to feign ignorance, pretend to be doing what they want us to do, and then, at the crucial moment, go on the offensive. Wouldn't that make for a more dramatic story? But would they be fooled by this? Do you know what type of people are the easiest to deceive? Those who believe they know things well when, in reality, they don't. Those who have the delusion that all they see is also all there is to the world. Those who believe their knowledge is the sole truth and are drunk in the superiority of being above others. People like that are my favorite prey. Wow, you're amazing. I can't believe you took down an elusive being in one blow. Wow, I've never seen anything like this before. Damn it, why is this sword empress so strong? Have they not gotten tired from hunting this whole time? Oh, where are you going? Just need to take care of something for a moment. Ah, wait a moment. It's dangerous to go alone, so take someone with you. Young-woon, go with him. You said you wanted to go to the bathroom, right? Huh. Right, ew. Hiram, can you hear me? I'm talking to you using telepathy right now. Once I leave this spot, those people will likely make their move. Stay here, and if you notice anything strange, take action. Got it? Your name's Han Young-woon, right? You look a bit off since earlier. Is something wrong, huh? Me. Feel free to talk if you're troubled. I already know everything. The other 3 were inexcusable scumbags in their books, but this guy was pretty normal. Your name's Yuhyun, right? Please run away from here, right now. The divine spirits are surprised at Han Young-woon's attitude. They are asking if he is an ally of those scavengers. I know you won't believe me, but those 3 are murderers. Baek Woohyun forced me to tag along with them and suggested that we kill 2 people. I tried to refuse, but it felt like he'd kill me if I said no. Even though I knew, I kept silent, so I'm essentially like one of them too. I'll go back there alone and lie that I killed you, so just run away. I'll find an opening to send the sword empress away too. If you get caught, won't that put both you and Hiram in danger? Wait, more importantly, why do they want to kill us? I'm not sure either, but a teller who's a member of a famous division hired them to do it. He said he'd make a library contract with us if we succeed, A teller from a famous division, you say? That's why you should run away. I'll take care of things here. I was going to deal with Han Young-woon just like with the other guys, but I don't think I have to. I guess I have no choice then. Stay here. What do you mean? Do you think we're stupid? Why would we blindly trust strangers who approached us out of nowhere? Wait, are you saying you already knew about it all? Basically, yeah. Well, you don't have to feel scared. After all, you just proved you're not a bad guy. Then what about the sword impress? I guess it's almost over. Almost over, don't tell me. What on earth? Looks like there's no need to tie them up. She's amazing, though. I expected her to act all week, saying she could fight against other people. Are you going to lie there forever? It's about time you get up. Ugh, geez. Ugh, are you finally awake now? Han Young-woon. Han Young-woon, was it you? Did you snitch on us, you fucking traitor? You piece of shit, I'll kill you. I'll fucking kill you. Baek Woo-hyun, it seems you're not aware of the situation you're in, so let me enlighten you. Baek Woo-hyun, collector rank class 7, scavenging is your occupation and you've murdered over 10 people, not to mention you're affiliated with gangs involved in assault, extortion, and human trafficking. How do you? And this time, well, I guess you planned on killing a nameless man and a woman named the Sword Empress who recently became famous, huh? So who is it who hired you? Keek, and if I don't tell you, are you going to kill me? Are you confident you can handle becoming a murderer? Well, aren't you shameless? Aren't you even scared of the law? The law? What, you're gonna have me executed? There's no such punishment in this country. At worst, I'll go to prison. I can handle that easily. The divine spirits are telling you to kill Baek Woo-hyun. Send me to prison then, but know this, once I get out, you're the first person I'll kill. He who resembles the glittering light says that the wicked must be punished for their sins. Why are you quiet now? Cat got your tongue, should have thought twice before messing with me, not really. That's enough. Okay. Hyek, please spare me. Please spare me, I must have been out of my mind. Please, I beg you, it's not my fault. He made me do it, please. Hiram, is she trying to stop me? Certainly, from her perspective, what I'm doing right now might look terrifying. I might have underestimated you, Hiram. I'll take care of him. I realized it during the Constantinople siege battle, the thing that I'm supposed to do. To attain my desired goal, I'm ready to do whatever it takes, no matter what. Don't come close, please spare me, let's talk it out. Yeah, you're gonna have a lot of regrets if you kill me right now. Do you know something? You don't even have the right to negotiate with us in the first place. But if you kill me, you won't be able to find out about the teller who hired me. Jin Poong, the teller from the Pentagram Division of the Celestial Body Inc. You thought I wouldn't know about the secret deal you made with him. How on earth do you? Hire him, I'll leave the rest to you then. Ah no, don't come near me. Help, someone help me, Young-woon. Please save me, we're close, aren't we, you bastard? Don't you remember how nice I was to you? You fuck, don't come near me, stay right there please. Please anyone save me. This is it. Humans who run amok thinking they're the best. Blissfully unaware of what lurks beneath them, they mock and point fingers at others. In case of these people, watching the look on their faces as they realize how wretched reality is, haha. Feels so exhilarating, I'm sure it's some kind of twisted sense of justice. I'm aware, however, this is an inevitable aspect of my nature. The indelible mark left by enduring in that terrible world. It might seem a bit odd, but I can't help it. Because it's who I am, Jin Poong of Pentagram, I hope you can entertain me as well. What on earth? Ika. Yueg. What the hell have I done just when I decided to save someone and mustered the courage for the first time ever? To think it was worth nothing as I was being played by those two from the start. Why? Why did you kill them? If we hadn't, we would have been the ones dead instead. If we hadn't done this, you wouldn't have been safe either. Everything must have seemed a joke to you. After all, tellers choose you and the divine spirits sponsor you because you're just so strong, right? What would you know what it feels like to have nothing going for you? Despite that, we have to somehow keep living. Why only me? Everyone has their unique role in life. We just refuse to accept ours, striving for more. We steeled our resolve, worked hard, and even risked our lives for the sake of that. To you, it might seem like we were chosen, but we are just like you. Then why am I like this? Because you have conformed to reality. I refuse to be content with what's given. If I don't have it, I'll create it or take it from someone else if I have to. Do you think I want to give up? What can I do if nothing changes despite all my efforts? What am I supposed to do when everything I do ends in failure and ridicule? The world of humans is small. You mistake what you see, hear, and feel for the entirety of the world. If someone labels you a failure, you think the whole world sees you that way. Because that's all you focus on, did you know? The world beyond what you know doesn't even care about you. No one is blaming you. They don't know who you are, nor do they try to find out. If you want to change, start by changing how you view the world around you. Show the people you don't know yet who you really are. It might be hard, but it's less pitiful than giving up without even trying. Let's go, hire him. Should we just leave them like this? Yeah, it'll be fine. The Adolescent Wetlands boss grade illusionary being lepra. You've acquired the Kai Sense expansion skill as a reward. In combination with the basic Kai Sense expansion skill, Kai Sense expansion has transformed into Kai Sense expansion large. The mental realm is disappearing. Clearing the mental realm makes all of its traces vanish. I'm glad. I really like this outfit. Except for injuries and rewards, all traces of the mental realm disappear once it's cleared. I see. By the way, Yuhyun, yeah, you've been deep in thought since a while ago. I used to think people are incapable of change. That's what I thought, but maybe. Those who have a flip of a switch in their head are capable of it. It's nothing. We're back already. Imposing. How could this be? The farming spot breaker already cleared it. I rushed here as soon as I heard the news for farming, but I was too late, darn it. The divine spirits are clapping and enjoying the reactions of other collectors. Some divine spirits burst into laughter at the collectors' reactions. Compensate us for it. I feel a bit sorry, but we've got everything we came for. Let's head out. Oh my, yes, we don't care. I'm so tired. How was today? Nothing special, but I still got so many rewards for clearing. See. Now that you mention it, Hiram, could you show me your status window? Yeah, here. Well, is something wrong? Not exactly wrong. It's just that the stats section looks kinda vague. Doesn't it seem overly simplified? Despite rapid growth in your abilities, the stats still being marked as low rank is strange. It's certainly weird. It's more than just weird, it's a big issue. If stats are ambiguously marked like this, both tellers and collectors can't gauge their true levels. After the apocalypse in my past life, there was a major overhaul of the stats windows. Back then, the metrics were detailed and precise. If you worked hard and grew, only to find out your stats are the same when you check the stat window, how do you think you'd feel? Stats not increasing despite the amount of effort I put would put me in despair, I guess. That's right, this looks like an intentional attempt to demotivate the collectors by using obscure metrics. Someone's meddling with this. Until now, I thought the apocalypse was a result of carelessness by the collectors. But what if there was another reason the collectors started slacking off? What if someone had been orchestrating this whole process from behind the scenes? It's too early to come to a conclusion, but if these outrageous suspicions turn out to be true, then Yuhyun, those of you lurking in the shadows, scheming to bring down this world. It's nothing, give it all you have got. Because only then Can I truly enjoy taking you down? I'm back. Suryan, where did you go? I went to meet with the magazine publishers. I have a feeling that you'll be doing an interview soon. What, an interview? Yes, you might start getting more exposure from now on. That's right, collectors are pretty much celebrities. TV shows and commercials aren't even a big deal. If the goal is to get Miss Hiram's name out there, an interview would be best. Mr. Yuhyun, can I not do it? Fighting is all I have going for me. 9 plus of 9. Money will start rolling in if you do the interview. How much? A couple 100,000 is nothing. I'll do it. That aside, what are you doing right now? I'm working on a new weapon. But isn't that sword a cheap sword sold at the dimensional store? That's right. It's a cheap sword that only costs 100. Miss Hiram, can you take a look at the information on the sword? It says, Salio, ancient relic longsword. Is this supposed to be good? You two might not know, but Salio is a pretty famous name in the mixed world. While the Salio Empire might have been destroyed a couple thousand years ago, it was a place known for magic engineering that deals with both magic and machinery. This sword is an ancient relic of the Salian Empire, although the value of this sword isn't known yet in the mixed world. I, who have come from the future, do. This is a hidden piece that you can't even find in mind realms. Oh right, Miss Hiram, you should start working on your main attack skill. My main attack skill. You'll become a mid-class collector soon. In terms of physical stats, you won't lose out to other mid-class collectors, but you don't have a skill or story to go along with that physique. Since you skipped the process that many have undergone in just a couple steps. That's why you need to start preparing a mid or high-level story, but aren't stories at that level expensive? I know of a way to get one for a cheap price. First, look for lightning steps in the low-level stories category. Try opening up your dimensional store. I found it. Next is Berserk Lightning Inner Skill in the mid-level stories. Finally, among the low-level stories, there should be something called the Thunder Fury. Purchase all 3 of those, Mr. Yuhyun. Aren't those skills famous for being trashy? Nobody's able to handle the speed lightning steps gives. Berserk Lightning Inner Skill is so strong that it makes one's body twitch constantly. As for Thunder Fury, it's a sword skill, but it's so hard to use that. They call these 3 skills the 3 useless brothers. What? Aren't they useless then? Is it even safe to learn these? Miss Hiram, do you not trust me? Well, if you go as far as to say that then. Fine, I just have to learn all 3 of these, right? Are you okay now? That's. The shape of the sword has totally changed. Is this the original form of the sword? Be careful, there's still lightning flowing through it. I knew it was an amazing sword from what I've heard, but it's even better in person. That aside, looks like she's about done absorbing the stories. How do you feel, Miss Hiram? Does it hurt or feel uncomfortable anywhere? No, doesn't feel like it. Then try opening your status screen. There should be a new skill. Oh, you're right. The 3 skills I absorbed disappeared and have been replaced by a new skill called Heavenly Lightning Sword. That's the skill that will help you become stronger from now on. This hidden piece that lets you control lightning that comes from the heavens. If you were to look at it in terms of story level, it surpasses even high-level stories, more so mid-level ones. Mr. Yuhyun, thank you so much. Don't you know that I'd be shocked if you try to hug me without fully controlling your lightning, Yue? But how did you know about a hidden piece like this? If you were to show this scene just now to the divine spirits, they would have loved it. Of course, they would have loved to see it, but how did you know about that? It'll end up being troublesome as soon as someone starts questioning its origins. I just didn't want anything troublesome to arise from it. Forget that, you should hold on to this. That sword will absorb the lightning that you can't control. Mr. Yuhyun, come with me real quick. Did you perhaps use Miss Hiram as a battery to make that sword? Didn't it work out in the end? This is all to help Miss Hiram. Is she worried about Miss Hiram if things went south? My office would have burned to ashes. Oh, so that's what you were concerned about. From now on, if you're going to do something like this, you should at least give me a heads up. I'm only realizing this now, but Miss Suryan isn't normal either. I always thought that her personality changed because of the end. How a message. I found information on Choi Do-yoon. I'm heading out for a bit, Miss Hiram. Don't let that sword leave your body, Mr. Yoo-hyun. Why, since I have a new start, I don't have to get myself involved with him. Why am I so focused on him? Would I be mad if I were to see him? I might weirdly end up feeling nothing. Whatever the case, I want to try meeting him once. Welcome, what can I help you with? I would like to meet with the association manager, Choi Jungmo. Mr. Yoo-hyun, follow me. First, I'd like to ask you a question before I get to the main point. What is your relationship with this Choi Do-yoon? We're not acquainted, I've only heard about him in rumors. Is that so? Anyway, as you have requested, I've looked into him. Thanks to you giving me his basic information like age, sex, and roughly how he looks, it wasn't too hard to find him. Is this person the Choi Do-yoon that you're looking for? Yes, that's him, I'm sure of it. Where is this person right now, 10 years ago? When Earth was added to the mixed world during the Mind Unification Day. He went missing. Choi Do-yoon went missing. He was one of the people who disappeared during the 99 days of revolution. We call the people who disappeared the vanishing. When Earth, originally a physical world, merged into the mixed world, the world experienced a massive collision. All barriers between the illusions and truths of the world collapsed, marking the moment when the contents of stories became reality. We called that day Mind Unification Day. During that time, many people disappeared without a trace from reality and went missing. The exact cause of the vanishing remains a mystery. One thing was certain, those who disappeared had left Earth for another dimension. Though rare, some of the vanishing did return to reality, most often as corpses. While the few who came back alive returned in the form of monsters. In the future, some vanishing, known as otherworld returnees, will return perfectly fine, but that's not the case yet. To think Choi Do-yoon was a vanishing, then after disappearing on Mind Unification Day, he returned along with the end of Earth. The power and judgment he showed during the end were shaped by his adherence to the rules of another world. And another important detail, he has a mother. After Choi Do-yoon went missing, she has been tirelessly searching for her son for 10 years. She said she wanted to meet you. Me, would you like to meet her? Well, that figures, it makes sense since she heard there's someone who knows about her son. His mother. I'll meet her later myself. May I ask for your assistance again if needed? Thank you for your work today. If it's you, tell her Kang Yoo-hyun anytime. I guess my parents are alive in this world now as well. But I'm scared. If I exist here now, what became of my past self? If I was reborn as a teller, the other Kang Yoo-hyun in this world might still exist. If that's the case, can I even call mother and father my parents? Wouldn't they feel annoyed if they saw a teller in human form? What if they label me an imposter? Yoo-hyun. Hiram. What are you doing here? So, I followed you because you seemed troubled when you left. I was wondering if you're okay. I see, I apologize for making you worry, but I'm fine. It was not as big of a deal as I'd thought. Really? You really do seem fine now. Then shall we return to the office? Why, do you still have something you need to do? I've decided to become a main character in this life. The biggest influence on this decision are my parents. So even if my parents don't accept me as family, there's no need for me to be scared or run away. Yes, do you want to come along with me? Can I? Yes, what are you going to do? I need to go meet my saviors. Because they're still my parents regardless. The main characters that only I know 21 you sure are fascinating. While you're a teller, you don't interact with other tellers and you seem to have a past that no one else knows. You're wrong, hey, no way. I believe that you'll tell me one day. So who are these saviors we're about to go meet? They must be incredible for you to call them your saviors. Yes, they are truly incredible people. I wonder who they are for Yuhyun to speak so highly of them. Yuhyun's past that I don't know, I want to learn about it. Oh, I wonder if Hiram has a family. Yes, if I read her book. No. Hiram, do you have a family? Pardon. Are you asking because you're interested in me? Not this again. If you don't want to answer, that's fine. No, it's because I'm happy family. I don't have any, what? I did in the past, but I don't even remember what my dad looks like. I think he ran away after my mom gave birth to me. Maybe that's why mom abused me so much. She claimed I wasn't her child, and then I'm back. Mom, there wasn't much after that. Since my parents weren't around, I ended up in an orphanage and got bullied due to my shy nature, so I don't have a family. Hiram. But it's okay, things are different now, all thanks to you, Hiram. What? No, it's nothing, it must have been hard for you too. It's fine, if it weren't for you, I'd still be living like a loser. Thanks to you, I realized what I wanted to do. She seems like she's on the verge of breaking down. The Sword Empress I knew wasn't like this. No, I never truly knew the real self of the past Sword Empress, so there's no need to be disappointed or to compare the two. Though she's unstable and might break down at any moment right now, depending on my actions from here on, Hiram has the potential to change. Hiram, it's okay. At the very least, I will never abandon or leave you. Me neither. The gaming cafe I used to go to a lot when I was young, the bakery mother used to like. The food cart where I used to snack at, and the tutoring academy I once dreaded. It's all the same, the only thing that's changed is me. This playground. Yes, back then I always hated going to the tutoring academy and would purposely linger here instead. Mother would always somehow find me and yell. Hey Kang Yora, skipping tutoring again. Gosh, I promised I'd go tomorrow. Hi. This kid is. Hi. Kang Yora. I told you, one who runs away from their work will never succeed. Okay, stop nagging me, people are watching, Mother, I'm sorry, we were too loud, weren't we? What was I even hoping for? Kang Yuhyun doesn't exist here. There's already a new owner. Where I should have been, excuse me. Have we met somewhere before? Mom, what are you talking about? You just seem to resemble him. Right? I wasn't the only one who thought that, right, sir? Do you know my dad? Hi. Oh my god, OMG, is this for real? Mom, that's the person I was telling you about, the Sword Empress. Could I get your autograph, Yora? If you do that, you'll freak her out. I guess it's fate that we met like this. Would you like to talk for a bit? Oh yes, I haven't asked for your name yet. I apologize, I am Kang Yuhyun. I work at Celestial Body Inc. as a storytelling office teller. My goodness, a teller, Mom, did you hear? He's a teller, so you're not a person, you look so much like my husband, I thought you were a relative. Mother can feel something from me, I want to tell her the truth about my identity, but I can't. So you're a teller, yeah. Then can you make me into a collector? Yora, that's rude. Well, asking doesn't hurt, see, said it's okay. In response to your question, it's impossible to turn an ordinary person into a collector. What? Tellers form contracts with those who are already collectors. They can't turn people into collectors. What a relief, I was worried you might agree. What's a relief? Yora, depending on others to reach your goals is wrong from the get-go. Recognizing when something is impossible and letting go is also wise. Okay. Hey Kang Yora. My daughter has shown her worst side, I apologize. Well, kids at that age must all think collectors look cool. But Yora only sees the glamorous side of being a collector. She never considers the struggles of an unknown collector, and although I shouldn't be saying this as her mother. Yora has no talent. Yuhyun, you don't have the talent to become a collector. Hiram, could you give us some space for a moment? Yora will be at the playground we were just at. Please talk to her. Okay. But there's no need to give up that path just because you don't have talent. I think that too, people should always dream big, but I learned something through life. There are dreams you can't achieve just by wishing. Still, she's your daughter, right? Yes, since she's my child, I want to only tell her good things, but not when it comes to being a collector. That is a difficult job. I just don't want her to get hurt and want her to grow up well. You're not wrong, but ma'am, you shouldn't. That's your child's dream. No matter how difficult or challenging that path is, you can't just dismiss it. Are you saying I should just let her be? No, I'm suggesting you show her the reality, what it truly means to be a collector and how dangerous that path is. If she still won't give up, there's no helping it, just what are you? Because that would mean she's chosen it even after knowing everything. Do you think so lightly of your child's determination? A simple phrase or a small act of encouragement can make a person change. I believe an honest conversation between the two of you will make things clear, so I hope you'll believe in your child's dream just one more time. No matter how hard or bleak reality is, you need to dream big. If you head towards your dreams, she will one day be living as the main character of your life. I've always encouraged Yora like that. How did you end up saying the same thing? No matter how dangerous or challenging that path is, if one's goal lies at its end, you cannot stop or be stopped. So I hope you believe in Yora a bit more, ma'am. Ah. You're right, perhaps I've overstepped as her mother, stifling Yora's potential. Anyway, this is so fascinating. It's our first meeting, yet it feels like I'm speaking to my grown child. Haha, is that so? Yora. Ma'am, can I talk to Yora first? Ah, yes, can you? Yora. Would you like to talk for a moment? Yora, why do you want to become a collector? You won't laugh, right? Of course. Their pride and confidence in their lives was so dazzling. I wanted to be like them. Funny, right? No, not at all. I have a similar dream too, huh, really? Anyone can dream. What's important is your resolve. Let me ask you, are you willing to risk your life to become a collector? My life. The sword empress you admire so much also almost died several times to get to the position she's at right now. Not just the sword empress, but most collectors have risked their lives. Are you prepared to do that? I don't expect an immediate answer, but there will come a time when you must confront this question. Then do you think that I can do it? If I seriously wanted to become a collector and had the resolve, do you believe I can actually succeed? Yup, you can do it. If someone had assured me that I could do it just once, I believe I would have turned out differently too. I'll assure you as a teller, you can definitely succeed. So I hope you can change. Yeah, that's enough. Thank you so much for today. I wanted to spend some more time with you. They're both busy, so there's no helping it. It was really nice to meet you. I hope everything happens as you want. Hee, they will, even if you don't say anything. Then goodbye. Bye. You look happy, Yuhyun, do I? Anyway, what did you talk about with Yora? Hee, that's a secret. Yuhyun. Yes, what's wrong? Hiram, please wait one moment. Okay, will do. What is it? I feel like I didn't say this properly before you left. What You've worked hard. I need to say it, that I'm not her son. I need to draw the line and say that we're just strangers. Yes, I've worked hard. I'll cheer you on forever. Thank you. Thank you. I hope you spend your days peacefully in this life. My parents passed away at the beginning of the end, but not anymore. My parents will not pass away, nor will the end happen. I won't let them. Damn it, just what happened? At first I thought they ran away, but to think Kang Yuhyun is alive and they're dead. There's only one method left, but if I use that method. No, I can't do that. What can't you do? Argyles, what brings you here to my library? I was wondering if my Jinpung was doing the work he's been assigned well. But it seems you're not, so. Argyle feels incredibly disappointed. I believed in you, Jinpung. No, I've never failed at carrying out my work before. Argyle feels very sad to think that my Jinpung tried to kill his precious colleague. That's absurd, how could I? Then Jinpung are you saying that I'm lying right now? How are you curious about how you're being apprehended like this by another teller in your own library? When you were contracted with my department, you gave over your control of the library. In order to receive jurisdiction over your library again, you need to become a senior associate. Which means until then you have no control over your library, meaning you can die in your personal library, the safest place in the world for you. But don't worry, Argyle is a senior who's really kind. I'll give you one more chance to deal with Kang Yuhyun. And this time, I'll even give you a special service. I'll support you with points. By points, do you want me to do that? Yes, correct. A storytelling battle, a bet between tellers who have control over their libraries on the line. What better opportunity is there? But isn't that a battle with collectors as proxies? Because the Sword Empress who Kang Yuhyun is contracted with is so outstanding, I can't possibly. It's fine. The Pentagram department is thinking of sponsoring a pretty good collector for you. There's a collector our department has been secretly raising that isn't known by the public yet. Although they are new, they're good enough to easily deal with a mid-class collector. And if it's a collector who has defeated the Sword Empress, the rising new star, I'm sure the divine spirits will be super happy. Yes, if I defeat the Sword Empress and take control of Kang Yuhyun's library, I can get rid of him. Thanks to Hiram going around while holding this sword, it's totally full of currents, but the sword's true self hasn't shown itself yet. Now if I just engrave this mana circuit, the Salio Ancient Relic Longsword will now evolve to the Salio Empire Magic Engineered Sword. As a reward, you have obtained 100,000. Since you have succeeded at engraving the mana circuit, you have obtained the story of an engraver. This is the true form of the Salio Ancient Relic Longsword. Increased chance of a myth-level fatal blow, increased stats, can defend against magic, can transform shapes, and there's no cooldown. This is incredible. The special window is still locked, but that must be because my level's still low. It'll improve with time. What's this enormous ego? I'm finally free. Wait, is this a speaking sword with ego, and with a book at that? Phew, I don't even know how long I've been asleep. You, the one who woke me up, are you my master? Yup, I'm Kang Yuhyun. I'm a teller at Celestial Body Inc. What, a teller? Hey, why does a teller need a sword? Are you thinking of selling me? Don't worry, I use swords myself. A teller does? You're an interesting guy, aren't you? Anyway, what's your name? Not sure, I've been asleep for so long, I think I forgot it. If you can you give me a name? Me? The fact that you woke me up means you're talented as an engraver. You'll be good at naming too. This pure white blade, it reminds me of Bikyo. It's like I'm looking at a white lotus. Then what about Bikyon? Bikyon's not bad. Okay, Kang Yuhyun, from now on you are my master. You have become the master of Bikyon, the Salio Ancient Relic Longsword. I can feel her story flowing into me. You have obtained the story, he who has inherited that which has been forgot. Completely awakening the ego of the ancient longsword. Story of an engraver is changing into an engraver title. My story is also flowing into Bikyon. What's wrong? Wait, that aside, Kang Yuhyun, you. Just what do you mean by being a reincarnation who has already died and was reborn again? Just what do you mean by being a reincarnation who has already died and was reborn again? Damn it, so she read my past using the owner contract, so it'll be pointless hiding it from her, so to tell the truth. I see, I thought you were an unusual teller, but to think you had that kind of story. So was you finding me also due to the knowledge you obtained from the future? Yes, but the one who used you back then didn't seem to know that you were an ego sword. He probably only woke me up a bit. However, you have the engraver characteristic. That's why you were able to fully wake me up. Anyway, to think my master would be a teller, I like this more. I think it'll be fun. I've always been curious about the storytelling tellers do. You'll see an annoying amount of that now. I hope we get along well. Me too. Hiram, are you ready? Yes. Then I'll open it. Hello, it's been a while, Master. It really has been a while. As I've written in the announcement, we rested for a bit to return in a newly reorganized way. And what is that new way? I'm curious. Show us. I'll slowly begin to show you all, so please wait. First, I'll explain the story I'll be showing you all today. The mind realm we will be clearing today, Kang Yuhyun. Jinpung, I request. A storytelling battle with you. A storytelling battle? The divine spirits are murmuring amongst themselves. Some of the divine spirits are feeling interested at the sudden incident. Hey, what's a storytelling battle? Just as the name suggests, it's fighting using stories. It's not possible for all tellers. It's a method only used among the tellers of Celestial Body Inc. Huh, can you come out like this in front of everyone? Of course, only you can see me. The same goes for my voice. I see. Anyway, a storytelling battle is a fight that relies solely on the collector's abilities and the help of the teller. It's a fight that allows the winner to legally take control over the library of the loser. What? The winner takes the rights to the loser's library? That's a big deal. Why aren't you answering, Kang Yuhyun? A storytelling battle. Don't wanna. What? I said I don't want to. I don't have a reason to accept your offer in the first place. It's true that you have the right to request for a storytelling battle, but I also have the right to refuse. Hey, is it really okay to refuse like this? No, most don't because of their pride, but I'm going to. Do you have no honor as a teller? Are you running away because you're scared? Is that something an uninvited guest to someone else's story should say right now? It's obvious what you were planning since you came to request a storytelling battle the moment I opened my library for the first time in a while. What's wrong with that? You thought that if you requested a battle in front of this many divine spirits, I wouldn't have a choice. The divine spirits are asking if that is the truth. The divine spirits are furious to try and use the supreme divine spirits in this way. How arrogant. It's so obvious what your intentions were. Do you have no conscience? No, so which department are you from to be this arrogant? I need to talk to them separately. Okay, no need to be too angry. He probably did that because he doesn't know things that well yet. You're pretending to care for him while screwing him over. If you treat him too coldly, it'll reflect badly on my library. Do the storytelling battle. Aren't you excited too? There haven't been many battles lately. A storytelling battle between the popular pentagram department and the newly rising sword empress. Aren't you excited? But I have one condition. What is it? If we're going to fight, we need to put something on the line, and we can't just bet on something half-hearted, so let's bet everything we have. The winner will take everything the loser has, including the right to live or die. Are you serious? He's going into the trap himself. It's not a bad offer for you either. Kekek, okay, good. You're the one who suggested it, so you can't take it back. Officially establishing the storytelling battle, the battle method is deathmatch. This is unfolding quite interestingly. I was curious since he's a new rising teller, but he's better than I imagined. As expected of a teller I've had my eyes on. But seeing him refuse to conform to his environment and explicitly ignore it will be quite bad for our department if we just let him be. But it's fine, since he's become a covetous prey, we can just eat him up. Yuhyun, will we really be okay? I'm doing it precisely because we'll be fine. We can show Baekryun off, so this will be a good opportunity. Still. Are you worried? You can be honest. Some of the divine spirits were questioning my actions too, that I agreed to it with such rash conditions. Yeah, we don't know what they'll do on their side. Although it appears to be one-on-one, it's basically a fight of you alone against an entire department. Just what were you thinking? Hire him. Remember what I said last time? The easiest people to deceive are not those who are smart or stupid, but those who believe they know things well when, in reality, they don't. Yes, what about it? This is an extension of that time. He's also a bastard who thinks he knows everything. Not only him, but the one manipulating his actions too, along with the department that person is in. Then did you do that on purpose? Yes, I have a method to beat them. Wow, you really are a psycho. Thanks for the compliment. Hey, did that sound like a compliment? You're just really crazy. 5 minutes left until the start of the battle. Yes, Bikyo, thank you. Then shall we go out too? I kind of want to see the stadium before I fight. Before that, hire him. I have something I want to ask of you. Kekek, stupid bastard, he's all arrogant because he has the sword Empress, although she is incredibly talented, even to my eyes. It'll be difficult for that great sword Empress to win this time. To think the department had someone like him. For the department to lend someone like him to me must mean that they also acknowledge my abilities. Otherwise, why would they give me someone who will win without a doubt? 1 minute left until the start of the battle. Hey, it's time, let's go, ha, so bothersome. The battle is beginning. Both teams, please come out of your waiting rooms. Okay, hurry up and go, don't order me around. I was gonna do that even if you didn't tell me, so annoying. Endure it, this is all a necessary process to defeat Kang Yuhyun. My opponent is that famous Sword Empress. I'm excited. I wonder what cutting the Sword Empress will taste like. She's coming, good luck. Hi. Hi. Hey old man, what happened? That's not the Sword Empress. As expected, I feel a strange chill. He never does things you can predict. I never even thought that he'd come out for the storytelling battle himself. I hope he fulfills my expectations. Wow, the Sword Empress Teller, can a teller come out on something like this? There's no rule against it. Although I'm a bit surprised, this is a real opportunity to kill him. Go and make sure to kill him. I was going to do that even if you didn't say it. Stop ordering me around. Hey, will this really be okay? That guy is obviously not ordinary. There's no need to worry. This guy. Is he Jack the Ripper? In around 1 year, there will be a collector serial killer incident in Korea. Collectors are killed not in the mind realm but in reality, and since all murdered collectors were mid-class, it was a huge shock. Although it seemed like the incident would remain unsolved because the culprit's identity could not be found. As soon as the end came, he revealed his own identity. But in the end, he lost his life trying to come for Choi Do-yoon. What's important is that before he died, he killed at least several thousand innocent people. To think Pentagram would be secretly raising someone like him. In the past, Pentagram was also active in telling stories and followed the end. They're definitely related to the end. I should have been the one to go instead. If something happens to Yuhyun, then I. What do you mean I can't go out? There's no need for you to go. This is my fight. There's no need for you to get swept up in this. I'm your collector, and collectors fight for their tellers. Isn't it obvious that I should be the one to go? If I were your average teller, then yes, since they don't fight. I understand that you're anxious. Thank you for worrying, but in the end, you weren't believing in me. You're being like this because you think I'll lose. Yes, the reason why I'm this anxious is because I don't believe in Yuhyun. Yuhyun believes in me, but I can't believe in him. Don't worry, I'm not as weak as you think I am. I'll show you that you're being anxious for nothing. I'll prove that those laughing at me from afar are wrong. Honestly, I'm still nervous. But I'll believe in him. The battle is starting. This is London Whitechapel. Hey Kang Yuhyun, look up front. He disappeared. He was there just now. Is he using stealth? How should I kill him? First I'll slowly Did I get caught? No, there's no way. It must have been a coincidence. Okay, if it's here, he shouldn't be able to notice me. What the is he? Seeing through my stealth. Hua, what are you doing right now? I thought you were confident in your stealth. Shut up, even if you don't say anything, I'll dispose of him properly. Even if he's discovered me, if I attack you from your blind spot. You won't be able to block my attack. How? Hey Kang Yuhyun, how did you see that just now? I have my ways. Anyway, I think he's certain you can see through his stealth now. what are you going to do? If he doesn't come, then I'll go to him. How? Isn't it laughable that you thought you could do something with just stealth? You bastard, you think I came here with just stealth as my skill? Yuhyun, die. Are you done? Then it's my turn now. Are you done? Then it's my turn now. Did you just see that? Kang Yuhyun just avoided his attack. There's no way. I'm sure it was a skill that allowed him to do that. Must be right. Of course, he definitely doesn't look like someone who can fight. I bet he's here just to get attention too. I saw this skill in Bikyo's book last time, so I was curious about it. I think that hooded guy has to be stronger. I already bet Sup on Kang Yuhyun losing. It's pretty impressive. I guess it's to be expected of an owl of heaven. Anyway, so that's what everyone thinks of me, huh? I'll make sure to change all of your minds. He's coming. Which direction is he going to swing his sword? Left, right? A spear? Wasn't he just using a sword until now? When did he change his weapon? What kind of spearmanship is this? I thought he was a swordsman, but I've gotten a feeling of how far that spear can attack and how he fights. I get that you're no ordinary teller, so I'll start taking this seriously. He shouldn't be able to reach me from this distance. You idiot, I'll stab you to death before your spear can reach me. How? I was definitely far enough that your spear shouldn't have reached me. I assume you've been trying to avoid my attacks. But I guess you failed to predict this one. The spear got longer. You cheater, that's not something you should be saying when you started things off on a higher ground. Blame your lack of skill. Shut up. All I have to do is get close enough that he can't do anything. I'll kill you as painfully as possible. Kyuka. That's a shield. Wait, it wasn't him switching out the weapons, but the weapon that was changing form. A weapon like that exists, and he can use them all proficiently in all forms. Is he really a teller? Where did he get a weapon like that? I saw that both Eden and Pandemonium are interested in his library. Maybe it was them. Eden and Pandemonium, well, it's just a rumor, but I heard even Deep Dark and Michael appeared. He definitely knows how to get attention. It's just a shame that I was rejected anyway. Deep Dark, are they talking about me? Is that what people call me? I'm feeling chilly. Yeah, like someone's glaring at us. Hey, what are you doing right now? Huh? What are you doing, Henjung? Shut up, I'm going to take care of this. I will compliment you for being able to corner me this much, but you've let your guard down far too much. You should have ended things when you had the chance. I'm revealing your traits here. I didn't expect you to use something like that against an employee rank teller. But since you're using that, I guess this round is over. I won't go so easy on you anymore. I can't see his movements at all. You're telling me we didn't know about a collector that strong. Ha ha ha, let's see if you can keep up with my speed. It's too late to regret things now. For who you? I would have ended things much earlier if I knew you were going to be this lame. What? What are you? This was supposed to be my stage. I was supposed to be the main character. You were nothing more than a sacrifice to make me look better. How did I lose? You didn't try to seek more knowledge because you were so drunk on your own powers. You lost because of your hubris. Take a good look at the person who defeated you, at the victor. At the real main character of this stage. Don't kill. This is my power, my value that you have been looking down on all along. Kang Yuhyun has won the storytelling battle. The field will disappear. The winner shall be rewarded. Please wait. Hi. Yuhyun really won. I wasn't able to believe in him till the end. I believe in you now. I wouldn't replace you for anyone else in this world. My light, you're incorrigible. So this is why the divine spirits were so interested in you. On top of that, you did such a thing when there were so many people around. I'm sure the other divine great forces will be after you as well now. I'll be expecting more from you. Are you messing with me? Say something with that mouth of yours. The collector we put so much into was destroyed in front of all those people, by a newbie teller at that. That shouldn't have been possible. There must be someone behind him. Also, there must be another. You think that could excuse you? Do you think things would change even if Kang Yuhyun was receiving donations from other departments? There is no way to fix this. The situation is already at a point of no return. Right, we need to find someone to take responsibility, the person who caused all this. Lady Argyle, please forgive me. Forgive, you've lost the secret weapon the department provided and even failed the mission. What use would you have? No, I still haven't shown you all I can. Excuse me, Jin Poong. The losses you caused for our department isn't something that can be quantified as a simple monetary loss. A thing like you wouldn't be able to pay it off even if you worked your entire life. That's not possible. There's no way my worth is so little. Ugh, the way you're grasping at straws is unsightly. Jin Poong, you have lost all your rights to the library due to this loss. Doing just this is already me being benevolent since you're my junior. That's right, you should be living a life worse than a slave's. I'm freeing you from such life. Isn't that right? Just how did it turn out like this? Kang Yuhyun, that bastard, he was certain of his victory from the start. He knew of everything from the start. I wasn't. The hunter. Hi. Oh my, how delightful to see you. I'm Argyle from the Pentagram Department. It's nice to meet you, Argyle. I'm Kang Yuhyun. I've enjoyed watching your fight. You were really amazing. Wow, I don't know how to respond to having you praising me like that, although... Where is Jin Poong? I wanted to speak to him. It's sad to say, but he no longer exists. He lost in a storytelling battle with his life on the line. You can say that he was destined to die from the start. That's strange. Well, I had the right to decide his life. I don't remember telling him to die. You must not be aware since it was your first storytelling battle. That's just how it is. Aha, I see. Are you done spouting bullshit? Did I hear wrong just now? No, you heard perfectly fine, Argyle. I said stop spouting bullshit. Why are you getting rid of others' possessions as you please? Is that normal in the Pentagram Department? Even if I was the one to kill him, I still rank higher than you. You should show respect worthy of such. Yes, you are a superior, but that doesn't excuse your wrong, does it? You dealt with Jin Poong, who was mine. Isn't that an abuse of power? Oh my, I'm sorry. Looks like I made a huge mistake. I'll compensate you accordingly. How is it? That should be enough, right? Pentagram Department Teller Argyle. I know of her. A psychopath who laughs at people dying in front of her. That's who was harassing us. I still remember it. The sight of her gathering all the people that refused the trial in one place and then causing a bloody storm while laughing and enjoying it. The way she looked down at the corpses of the dead as if they were worse than bugs. There's no way I could forget that. I received the points. It looks to be about the worth of Jin Poong. You must have had a hard time. Having to take care of such a junior must have been hard, right? Hee, you know how to appreciate me, but I'm fine since I'm a benevolent person, right? Have you heard? There's word going around saying that some department is in contact with the Exodus. As one of the forces in charge of the mixed worlds, they exalt in the despair and anguish of the lower worlds. The department in contact with Exodus must be Pentagram. Even when the Celestial Body Inc., who was in charge of Earth's society, gave up the storytelling rights to them, making most departments shut down. Pentagram went on storytelling as if nothing was going on. I wonder why you're telling me all this, Yuhyun. Someone might mistake me for having connections with the Exodus if they overheard. I was just telling you so that you can be careful in case they approach you. I apologize if you took it that way. Anyway, I'll get going since I have to go claim the library that once belonged to Jin Poong. Okay, see you later. She's definitely different from Jin Pung, who's easy to deal with. She knows to hide her feelings and will do anything to hide any information regarding the pentagram department. Just the fact that the pentagram department has connections with Exodus alone says a lot about how they are a large force that isn't easy to deal with. Just going by how they were able to raise someone like Kim Hanjung without him being discovered by the divine spirits says it all. They'll definitely be hard to deal with alone, however. Things are different from back then. Starting next time, I'd appreciate it if you gave me a heads up on things you're about to do. How do you think I feel when I hear that the contracted teller and collector that went to the mind realm to earn some money ended up getting into a storyteller battle? I'm sorry, I'll stop here since it looks like you guys are repenting. Besides, what better news could there be than you guys coming home victorious? Hee right, Yuhyun was really amazing. The capacity increased since the library was merged. The divine spirits were satisfied as well. But you seem happier than usual. Did something good happen? Oh, do I look more happy? Oh my, I didn't want to say anything. I wonder how you noticed it so quickly, Yuhyun. Since you're saying you're going crazy due to curiosity, I'll tell you, no, I didn't say all that. It can't be helped, to be honest. Today is finally payday. Yes, that's right. This is the amount you made this month. I sent it after taking out taxes according to the agreement, so please check. How much could it be? Yuhyun, what should I do? I'm totally rich now. I'm jealous of your ability to be so excited over such a small amount. A large portion of that came from the government as a reward for clearing the mind realm. On top of that, due to Hiram becoming famous, we've been getting more and more requests for commercials and interviews. Just the contract fees for commercials we signed is over 200 million won, 200 million. With this, not to mention paying off the debt for the office, we can even have not only coffee but green tea in the office as well. Suryan, then can we eat different types of ramyeon as well? That's not all, we can even add eggs into our ramyeons, even eggs. Of course, we need to make our own kimchi still. Why are they acting like that? Just leave them alone. It's because they both grew up poor. Anyway, the Biqua management is now full of life. Can't we just buy the side dishes from the store? That's such a rich people thing to do, right? That's a bit too much. Your ambitions are just too small. I heard Hiram's been getting a lot of advertisement offers. Seems like she's busy. I should get to work too. I got a notif from Celestial Body Inc. It got buried under the storytelling battle notifs, so I didn't see it. Congratulations, you have completed a long-term mission. A promotion, so I'm being acknowledged for my work in the storytelling battle. Does that mean I'm a senior associate, and to be promoted to senior associate, you must attend a promotion ceremony? Until the ceremony is held, your rank will be senior associate, probationary. You will receive the benefits of a senior associate probationary. Arg, that's annoying. But I think I need to visit headquarters soon. The problem is the promotion ceremony will take quite some time. Well, it's my fault for growing too fast. Yuhyun, what is it? It seems I've been promoted. Not immediately, of course. Really? Congratulations. Congratulations, Yuhyun. Thank you. How's work? I've dealt with most of it, but there's still some left. I need to adjust the interview schedule and meet with advertisers separately to decide on the concepts for the ads. Some time is needed to handle the byproducts from the mind realm too, so you'll be even busier in the future. It'll be quite difficult for you, Suryan. It's fine, since Hiram needs to meet the business people now. Since we're talking about it, let's start immediately. Suryan, do you have time right now? Yes, I do, but why? Let's go on a date. Why? Yuhyun, you sure are mischievous. Do you have to say things like that when Hiram's around? She's been acting out lately, so I wanted to tease her a bit. Why don't you say that kind of thing to me? Although it seems I hit the home run more than expected. Anyway, you've been struggling to find a company to handle the byproducts, right? Pardon, how did you know? Of course. We've been growing rapidly lately, but it must be tough for an unknown management company to make contracts with other companies. I can't deny it, but in a bit more time, It'll be too late by then. We need to sign a contract as soon as possible to reduce the amount of time needed to build trust. I wanted to come out with you because I want to help you myself. If a teller shows up in person, even the companies will have a hard time looking down on you. Thank you. There is a company I've been considering, but there's a problem. Could you hear me out for a bit? So my family was quite affluent and peaceful. Although I grew up with my father and no mother, it was still fine. My older brother was a collector that people called a rising star, and he had some peers he got along well with and was quite popular. But one day, my brother passed away in an accident. But the problem is what happened after that. There were several collectors that died or were injured at that time. There were even collectors from big clans, but that side sued my brother, saying the root of everything was my brother's doing. My brother was dead and not there anymore. But the court ruled in favor of the big clan. That's how my family ended up with huge debts instantly. Even if it was the court, they probably couldn't help but ally with the large clan that had a lot of societal influence. My brother was a good person. He was more just and good than anyone, and he truly treasured his family. But unlike other collectors, he said that society was going backward. Did your brother perhaps think that the mind realms, he thought they shouldn't be maintained? I see. It seems the big clans really wanted to maintain the mind realms, and that must be why they sued Suryan's family. Although this might be a jump, I don't think that Suryan's brother's death was a mere accident. I should look into it soon. Huh, who is this, Suafuran? Wow, an old face. It's so good to see you. Huh, hello. After you quit the clan, I was sad, but I've heard you started your own management agency. Yes, I have. Can you even make money with that scale? Suryan, who is this? So, this is my senior, Jian Kwangsiok. We knew each other at my previous workplace. Suryan, who is this fragile-looking person? Is this a collector you've contracted with? You're quite incredible. During this labor force shortage, most personal management agencies don't last a few weeks before failing. I want to know what method you used to catch this guy. Oh, was this a contract-related meeting? With your level, can you even take good care of a collector? Suryan, Jian Kwangsiok, right? Oh gosh, I forgot to introduce myself. I am Jian Kwangsiok of Hanwol clan. You've heard of us, right? I am Kang Yuhyun. I've never heard of you before. Did you awaken recently? What's your collector rank? You don't seem to have weapons or other gear. Hey, enough's enough. Can you bugger off? What? How dare you tell me to bugger off? You clearly look young. Is that all you have to say? No, it's not all I have to say. Honestly, I want to beat you up and send dust flying everywhere. I'm holding back because of Suryan, but look at the way you're talking. Yuhyun, stop! How dare a no-name collector threaten me, a Hanwol clan member? Do you know what kind of clan Hanwol clan is? Insulting you is the same as insulting me, but you want me to stand still? What, you two were in that kind of relationship? Impressive, Suryan. I thought you got him through your abilities, but it turns out you got him through that method. You should have spoken to me while you were at my company if you were like this. Then I would have had some fun too. What a shame, hey. Jian Kwangsiok. Are you crazy? Hey, are you crazy? How dare a collector be violent towards a citizen? Don't you know what will happen? Don't you know how severe the punishment for crimes against citizens is? I'll sue you. I'm going to sue you. Hyunsuk, call the special unit now. It'll be useless even if you call them. Since I'm not a collector in the first place, I haven't violated any laws. What? How are you going to punish me, a teller, using collector laws? What, a teller? What? Keep saying what you were saying earlier. Even if you're a teller, enough is enough. If you don't stop, we won't stand still either. You won't stand still? Okay, take your weapons out, but the moment you do, you'll die at my hands. Fuck off before I kill you all. Yuhyun, what do you think, Suryan? I'm quite trustworthy, right? Gosh, I can't stop you. Why did you choose me? You're perfect for this line of work, and I thought you'd do well. Tellers have the ability to see someone's talents. But after that lawsuit, I was blacklisted by other big clans and have been having trouble finding companies to deal with byproducts. Do you resent your brother, Suryan? I hated him at first, but thinking back, I realized that he wasn't a bad person. He was just someone who worked hard at what he did, and that bothered those high up. Then are you going to accept this injustice for what it is? But what can I do against those people? Yes, that's true. That's why I'm saying I'll help you. Let's screw over this damned world, raise chaos, and prove that we aren't wrong. It might sound absurd right now, but you'll change your mind soon. Then shall we go find a company to deal with byproducts first? I'll help you. You might regret it. I'm the type of person to act first and then regret it. You really always have a comeback, gosh. Gosh, thank you for the deal. How surprising. It's something that wouldn't work no matter how hard I tried. I just did what I could. At this point, I wonder if you even need me as a manager. Suryan, you're only weak here, and we're supposed to live helping each other like this. We're already in one boat together, right? Okay, let's go. If we don't return, Hiram might say something. Then shall we buy something before we head in? The next day, it should be over soon. Lift your head. It'd be a waste not to show off the makeup you did. It's somewhat embarrassing, Yoo-hyun. You waited long, right, Yoo-hyun? How is it? I knew you were pretty before, but today you're even more so. Hee hee. Wow, you're a total player. Okay, then shall we go? This place is huge. It's one of the nation's top 3 magazines, but don't worry too much, and make sure to protect your image. Hello, we're here for the Sword Empress interview. Where should we go? Take that elevator and go to the 7th floor. Thank you. Will you two be okay for the interview? I have something else to do in the lobby. Got it. Bye-bye. Oh my, welcome. I've been waiting. And you are? I'm Kang Yoo-hyun. I'm supporting collector Kang Hiram today. Oh, so there's another manager besides Suryan. I'm Shin Garyong, the team leader in charge of the department for collecting magazine, so she's Suryan's friend. Shall we start the queue and a session? Recently, you've been getting rid of several mind realms, which is different from what many collectors do. This hasn't happened in years, so what's your goal in clearing the mind realms? I don't need a reason to clear the mind realms. As a collector, I'm simply doing what I must do. You've been called the Sword Empress lately. What do you think about that, and do you have any future plans? Yes, in regards to that. Ho gosh, you spoke so well. I don't think there's anything to worry about. Until now, there've only been those who acted all high and mighty because they were collectors. Oh yeah, there's something I heard recently. About a teller who spent time with humans. How interesting, right? Most tellers don't do that. I heard he even gave up the blessing that protects his body and is entering mind realms with a collector. She must have been sure that was me from the start. Yes, that's me. The teller in that rumor that's spreading like an urban legend is me. Oh my, I knew it. Working in this field, I pick up things naturally. I apologize if I seemed rude. It was something I wanted to ask since I was carrying out the interview. It was out of personal curiosity, not for journalism. So what are you curious about? If it's not an issue I can answer, why do you clear the mind realms? What else could it be? It's the best way to gain popularity, that's true, but I don't think you did it just for that, considering the hatred from others. My response to that question won't make sense no matter what I say right now. I definitely have a personal goal. But I'm seeing something even bigger than that. We'll end the interview here, since the main star of today is not me, but the Sword Empress. Oh gosh, I understand. We'll end the interview here. As an aside, I want to have a relationship where I can contact you when I can contact Yoo-hyun personally. Ho, just kidding. Suryan Yoo-hyun Hiram. How was the interview? She's a bit of a prankster. She didn't do anything serious, did she? Yes, it ended quite well, but the lobby's a bit noisy. So it seems a famous collector called Ju Kyung-soo came. He seems more popular than most collectors. Kaya, artist, look over here. To think that artist would come here. Please sign here. Look over here too. Hey, what's up with him? Who knows? None of my business. Suryan, let's go. Suryan, what was I just doing? It was a brief moment, but was she bewitched by that man? Just what does he do? His trait is Casanova. What kind of trait is this? So this is why Suryan was bewitched. Yuhyun, he's coming this way. What? It's nice to meet you, beautiful lady. I'm Ju Kyungsoo. The public calls me artist. I've heard a lot about you, Sword Empress. I came here hoping I could meet you and wow. You're even more beautiful than I expected, as if you were a white lotus in a calm lake. Ah, I see. It seems that even the Casanova trait doesn't work on Hiram's mental fortitude. Wait, did you just hear what he said? He said he came because he heard Kang Hiram was beautiful, so he came just for Hiram. I should act before he gets any closer. Enough, she's feeling uncomfortable. What are you? I'm her manager. A mere manager dares to block my way? How absurd. Don't you know me? I'm artist Ju Kyungsoo. I'm a nationally famous collector. That's irrelevant. Don't come close to my collector. She doesn't like it. Ha, there's no woman in this world that hates me. There are simply women who don't know me. My God, it's the first time I've missed the lawless end. Hey, let's just beat him up. Stop it. You're being a nuisance. If the beautiful lady says so, I must listen. Anyway, if you have the time, can you have a cup of tea with me? I apologize, but I'd like to reject that offer. I don't have time for that. You don't need to be shy. Is there anything you find uncomfortable while working as a collector? Anything I can advise you on as your senior? There's nothing. Please leave immediately. I've been trying to speak nicely, but this won't do. A glove. Sword Empress, I request a duel with you. OMG, a duel. Artist requested a duel with the Sword Empress. Ju Kyungsoo, please win. Is it okay for collectors to fight amongst themselves? If anything, the government prefers that collectors do head-to-head duels. It's better than grudges building and crimes being committed. But since you're the one who unilaterally picked a quarrel, I don't really want to accept the duel request. Yeah, but it doesn't seem your lady wants to run away. You can agree. What, really? You don't want to step aside here anyway, right? Nice. I'll accept your duel. Things are going as I expected. She got a duel request in front of everyone, so for her pride's sake, she couldn't refuse, and since she's a lower rank than me, I'll obviously win. Any other trivial issues can be resolved with power. There's nothing a rising newbie can do. Against me, a member of the big clan Hesiod clan. Now I can put that Sword Empress bitch in her place while everyone watches and make her fall for me. I can already feel my mouth watering. However, not right now, but in 3 days. 3 days? Cute. Does she think she can change anything? Okay. Let's duel in 3 days. We can use a location that the association assigns, then I'll wait for 3 days. He sure has a big head because Hesiod gets sponsored by the great divine force Olympus. Just wait, we'll crush that pride in 3 days. What is this fuss? Garyong, some collector named Ju Kyungsoo came by. Ju Kyungsoo, do you know him? Of course I do. How could I forget that bastard who kept making eyes at me throughout the interview? His gaze and actions were so uncomfortable, so Ju Kyungsoo was acting up with you too. Above all, there are rumors that he uses the clan to do bad things, so what did he do to you guys? Well, nothing much. He just requested a duel with Hiram, which she accepted. A duel, that's a big deal. What? Even if Hiram is a rising star, there's still a gap between them. We're not idiots. We have something in our back pocket, which is why we're acting like this. Think about it. If the Sword Empress, who had an exclusive interview with your magazine, wins in a duel with Artist, a mid-range class collector, that'll become a huge issue, right? Are you trying to turn this situation to your advantage? I'd be thankful if you could advertise this to some media agencies you have connections with. I thought you weren't ordinary, but you're crazier than I expected. Anyway, I'll do as you wish, then see you later. Yuhyun, thanks for allowing me to fight in the duel. What? I allowed you because I'm sure you can win, but why did you want to push the duel to 3 days later? We need to make the event as big as possible for it to gain more attention, while you're preparing for the duel over these 3 days. The news will spread. Please say one thing before your match with Artist. How do you feel going into this duel? Just what is all this? Just what did Garyong do? She's pretty selective, so she only entertains the favors of those she truly likes. Is that so? What a relief she favors me. Hiram has some recognition among divine spirits, but people don't know her name yet. This will be a good opportunity to properly establish her name. Anyway, she's perfectly ready now. King Hiram will definitely become a better collector than in her previous life. I can't just chase after the past and stop where I did before. We need to catch up and surpass it. And transcend her former best. This is a fight for that. Day of the duel. Buy popcorn, we have Coke and chicken too. There are so many people, it's no joke, ugh. Urian, are you nervous? Is that a joke? What's with this crowd, and why are these huge media companies here to watch the fight? Who knows, I only asked Garion to spread the news, but seeing how big the reaction is, artist must have spread more news than expected. Storytelling battles and duels among collectors are not common events in the first place. People must be really pumped for this. Ugh, my stomach is acting up because I'm so nervous. Do you need to use the washroom? How can you say that to a girl? It's just a stomachache. Anyway, so many people came. In the premium seats, there are many big clan members, and I see a few famous collectors. I understand why Suryan has an anxiety-induced stomachache, but you don't seem nervous at all. I am nervous, you just can't tell, above all. This fight isn't mine, but the Sword Empress's. 3 minutes left until the match. Ready? Yes. Ugh. What the? That hurt. I hit you intending for it to hurt. Still, you're a bit less nervous than before, right? You should have warned me. It's less effective with a warning. Just wait until you get nervous. Thanks. Contestants enter. The divine spirits are very excited for the fight. The divine spirits wish for the Sword Empress victory. Field is being created. I'll explain the rules. The match will end once one person declares surrender or if one person is unable to fight. All types of monsters inhabit this created field, and you will receive points if you defeat monsters. Depending on the level of the monster, the points given are different. If you defeat the boss-level monsters on the field, you will get the most points. There are 3 hours in this duel. If 3 hours pass and there is no victor, the result will be decided based on points. Murder is strictly forbidden. If you break this rule, you will receive the most severe punishment based on the association's rules. Then, let's begin the duel. Artist, he has slain a big monster as soon as the match started. He has obtained 150 points. Kaya Ju Kyungsu, you've got this, but what is the Sword Empress doing? She isn't doing anything, just standing still. Is she giving up on the fight? What is this sound? Something is running this way. Sword Empress, that bitch. Aiming for me instead of the monsters from the beginning. What's going on right now? The Sword Empress wants a direct fight with artist. How dare you underestimate me? What? Where is this absurd power coming from? What the? Did the Sword Empress have an ability like that? I heard she was strong, but to think she'd be that strong. This was exactly what I wanted. The feeling of crushing someone who looked down on me, the thrill of unleashing power I've been holding back, and this sense of freedom. So this is how Yuhyun felt. Ugh. How dare you do this to my handsome face? Kaya artist. No, I'll lose at this rate. I can't lose to a low-rank collector. No, think rationally. If I stay calm, I can read her attacks. If I just react appropriately, I have a chance. There. Is she toying with me? I'll never let this go. Artist, he has no chance to fight back. He's completely being overwhelmed by the Sword Empress. I jiv. She's stopping me from giving up. What the? I thought Ju Kyung-soo was super strong, but he's all talk. He was just confident because of his looks. Ahem, so the Sword Empress attacks are so strong, so artist. Damn it, why aren't you stopping the fight? The fight. We can't do that. That Sword Empress girl, she's not even letting him say I give up. Match complete. The Sword Empress has won. Disabling field. Hi. Revealing her hidden strength at a crucial moment. Clever, it's clear who gave her that order. I wanted Kang Yoo-hyun to fail, but now I'm just pissed. I want to rip apart that face if I can, but if I act rashly, he'll use it against me. I need to move cautiously now. An opportunity will come eventually. Hiram, are you okay, Suryan? You were incredible. The audience reaction was amazing. He. Thanks. Hiram. Yoo-hyun. You were so impressive. Great job. Thanks. We can't just let this be. If we let Sword Empress be, we don't know how many mind realms we'll lose. We must do something, but while she has everyone's attention, we can't touch her. So are we supposed to just leave her be? Gosh, you all are so passionate. What's wrong? Just let it be. They'll fight amongst themselves. Mr. Gunwoo, even if you're here against your will, you should focus on the meeting. If it wasn't for the clan leader's order, I would have left this place long ago. I don't like how they handle mind realms as they wish, nor how they are trying to exclude the Sword Empress. What am I supposed to do in a place like this where sated pigs continue oinking in greed? It's incredible, everyone on the internet is talking about Hiram. I hope you keep getting more famous like this and there are always endless requests at Biqua management. Then we'll really be able to buy Kimchi, Suryan. Yoo-hyun, what have you been thinking since earlier? I've decided. What? We should get one more collector. Wyatt. Hick, so mean. I've been abandoned. Haas, Hiram, when did I abandon you? Lies, you said you only needed me. When did I? Hiram, it can't just be the two of us going to mind realms forever. Right now, it's okay, but when we go to bigger mind realms, it won't be possible with just the two of us. Well, it's not urgent since the two of us can handle them right now, but the fact that we'll one day need to choose someone won't change. And won't it be nice for you to have a junior? Since your rank is rising, you should be treated as a senior. There's no helping it. I should overlook this with the generosity of a senior. She's easy. So who are you thinking of? I don't have anyone in mind yet. Among proven collectors, there are the other two who were called the Miraculous Generation along with the Sword Empress, Flame Knight and Bang Sang. Flame Knight is active in America, so he probably doesn't have a contract with a teller, and I don't know the identity of Bang Sang, so they'll be hard to find. What about using your knowledge of the future to find someone? There are many candidates, but the timing's not right. Some have not awakened yet, while others have already been snatched up. But I can't just get a contract with an unknown collector. This will be harder than expected. Your conditions are picky and the situation isn't good. What will you do at this rate? Oh yeah, tomorrow's the collector completion ceremony. It's the period where newly awakened collectors are released into the recruitment market. What about finding a gem there? I'm sure there's a gem who hasn't properly realized their own ability yet and won't be remembered properly by people yet. What the video call? Who is it? What the? Is this working? Hey, can you hear me? I heard that you are being promoted to senior associate soon. Yeah. What's with that reaction? I thought of you and was wondering how you were doing. Anyway, congrats. Yoo-hyun, who is this? I've never seen them before. Go over there, please. Wait, those horns. Are you that horned guy that I met at the entrance ceremony? Horned guy, my name is Alicia. To think that tiny thing could turn into such a beauty. From her appearance, she must be taking on the appearance of a red demihuman. Anyway, good to see you. You are from the storytelling office too, right? How have you been? I was lucky enough to enter the department and have been receiving help from the seniors. I'm working on a planet called Altilan where swordsmanship and magic exist. So you're working in a fantasy area, you must be quite good. Who do you think I am? Don't get shocked when you hear it. I've already achieved 500 viewers in my library. I have quite a good collector. He was known as a bad boy before contracting with me, but now he's top tier. Is he some kind of county or viscounty young master? How did you know he's from a county? He used to get called a bad boy and would cause a lot of trouble. But one day he suddenly came to his senses and became a new person, right? Everyone around him was very surprised. His father, who usually didn't pay attention to him, was happy and asked if he'd finally come to his senses, and the girl from a noble family who was engaged to him said she couldn't believe it. He used to be chubby, but he lost weight and became very handsome. What the? How do you know it so well? Wow, Alicia chose a bad boy main character, but have you checked the Teller forum? Teller forum? No, I haven't in a while. You should check it if you have time. I think something strange is happening because of you. Anyway, I'm busy, so bye. Something strange. There was a teller who died trying to copy me. Save me, what are you doing? Don't run. Shut up, try and figure things out on your own. You're a collector. What the fuck? You said we'd fight together. I didn't think it would, but an incident has really occurred. This wasn't something you should copy recklessly. That's why I said giving up your blessing is as good as dying. Then why is Teller Kang Yuhyun fine? He must have prepared a lot beforehand. Seeing how he fought, he was on another level altogether. I'm fucked. I gave up my blessing. Bastards who gave up their blessing, good luck, Lul. Even if you request, I don't think you can recover that. If you want to officially put in a recovery request in the system, you need to at least be a department head to have that kind of backing. Anyway, all the bastards who got false hope because of this, get a grip. If you recklessly thought this was the easiest way of succeeding, it'll backfire. But it's still a good outcome. Everyone will look at me because of this again. Anyway, there seem to be a lot of people who have already given up their blessings. Are you worried? Don't you think it will be really fun to watch a story of a teller suffering like hell after giving up their blessing? Are you being serious right now? The next day, Yuhyun, do you have to go alone? Yes, there are still a lot of reporters and paparazzi waiting for you because of your duel with artist. I need to deal with this as quickly as possible without being bothered by anyone, so please understand. I'll be back. When will he come out? Wow, so many people? Yeah, well, there are ordinary people who came to watch the ceremony, and I'm sure there are people from major clans here too, and tellers too. There are so many competitors. Will we be able to find someone? And the major clans already have the information, so they must know who all the good collectors are. I'm not trying to find those proven people anyway. The clans initially deemed higher unrecruitable too. Of course, the higher your rank, the more talented you usually are. But even if the nation has an amazing curriculum, it won't be able to assess one's ability completely. Then shall we look for collector too? I can't tell just from looking, but let's go. Hey, Kang Yuhyun, is there still no one you like? Everyone left already. All their colors are average. I was hoping for at least a gold color. Is there no one? What's wrong? Hey, Kang Yuhyun. No, wait, did I see wrong? Excuse me 1 second. Just what? Is that a rainbow book? No, a rainbow bookshelf. Normally one person only has one book, but the fact that she has that many means limitless reincarnations or limitless regressions. 1 second. Hello, it's nice to meet you. I am Kang Yuhyun, and your name? Fuck off, if you bother me I'll kill you. Finally, this is the tops line amongst regressors who are trying to speedrun something. Kaya, this was a line that the divine spirits loved in the end. You must be a collector who just finished the completion ceremony, right? I am Biqua Management's Kang Yuhyun, Biqua Management. What business do you have with me? I wanted to give you a good offer. I'm busy, don't bother me and move. So just let go before I kill you. You ran like that because of that woman. If you were trying to hire her, she must be talented. Or do you know her from your future knowledge? No, I don't know her. If she has books like that, she should be famous. But seeing how she isn't matching up with my memories from after the end, there must be something. Let's go back for now, Bikrion. I need to meet her again later. How? She didn't even say her name and left. Don't worry about that. We'll definitely see her again soon. Suryan, can you research someone named Kwon Jai-ah from the recent training school graduates? Pardon, Kwon Jai-ah. Is that the person you want to recruit? Yes, it is. Understood, I'll look into it. I thought I'd be able to get info on her from her book, but one book alone isn't enough. Kwon Jai-ah is a female name, right? Because she's a woman. I didn't select her because she is a woman. It just so happened that the collector I chose was a woman. Ah, I found her, but Yuhyun, you really want to go with her? Yes, is there a problem? Of the 359 collectors who graduated, she's ranked 340, and her training evaluation isn't very good either. Although she has a high score in individual fighting skills and combat with monsters, her evaluations for personality and teamwork are awful. It seems she even had a fight in the training school. Yes, she was almost expelled and couldn't graduate because of that. Seeing how she beat higher-ranked collectors, she's talented, but according to what's written here, her personality is no joke. The rumors have spread, which is why no one tried to recruit her. Do you really think that Kwon Jai-ah is suitable? Yes, I do. The several books in the light. Kwon Jai-ah might even be more talented than Kang Hyerim. Are you planning on recruiting her right away? No, there's no rush. I'll approach her after the promotion ceremony. Then I'll be off for a bit. Where to now? There's someone I need to meet. Waiting at the door, that's not a common name for a street food restaurant. Well, it's strange if you know who the owner is. Welcome, for one. Are you Choi Do-yoon's mother? How do you know my Do-yoon? I'm the person who contacted you a while back about your son. Do you know where my son is? No, I don't. If you don't know where he is but know his name, then he must be alive, right? Yes, he is alive. I see, that's such a relief. What's your name, my savior? I'm Kang Yuhyun, and please don't call me something so burdensome as savior. I am simply a teller. I only came here out of curiosity about Choi Do-yoon's family. Ah, a teller, but how did you hear about my son? Our tellers go to worlds other than Earth, so we hear stories from other dimensions and planets. Honestly, I don't know how Choi Do-yoon is doing in the other dimension. The only thing I know is that he survives until the end and returns to Earth during the end. He is quite pitiful too, now that I think about it. Just a little bit through anyway. His twisted personality must come from the fact that his hometown completely fell to ruin. That means this lady in front of me must have passed away during the trials of the end. My Do-yoon was always mature for his age. My husband passed away before Do-yoon was born, so he grew up without a father, but he has never made me upset. That's why I always felt apologetic towards my son. No matter how mature a child is, still a child. He must have had things he wanted and things he wanted to do, but there was nothing I could do for him. And when Do-yoon went missing, it felt like my world was collapsing. As a mother, I had done nothing for my son, and then I lost him. If Do-yoon is alive, it might be better that he's met better people there and is living a good life. Even if he came back to a poor mother who owns a street food restaurant, he'd be unhappy. No, I understand that you feel guilty towards your son, but wishing your son to be happy over there is too much. I don't know what Choi Do-yoon was thinking exactly, but I'm sure he endured it while thinking about you. I said Choi Do-yoon was alive, but I never said he was happy. I trust you understand what that must mean. Even with the power to pursue wealth and fame in the other world, Choi Do-yoon came back to Earth. It's not for any grandiose reason, just your family. I'm sure Choi Do-yoon is working hard to ensure he can meet his only family again. You're right. We're family, so Do-yoon must also want to see me again just as much. Thank you. I realize how pointless my concerns were thanks to you. Anyway, you seem to know my Do-yoon well for some reason. I just heard about him from others. I see. I was wondering if my Do-yoon got a good friend. It seems she's caught onto something. My mother was like that too. All mothers must be quick-witted. If it's okay with you, please have a meal before. Hey, lady. We told you before to sell your shop. Who do you think you are to keep saying that? This is our business. If you are so uncooperative, then we'll be sad, lady. I have a customer, so please leave. Customer, there are customers in a shabby store like this. Hey, fuck off out of here if you don't want trouble. I don't like how doing this will be doing that guy a favor, but seeing her face, I should help out a bit. What is this bastard mumbling about? Fuck off. I act my arms, damn it, he broke my leg. You crazy bastard, don't you know what happens when a collector touches a civilian? Why does that matter when I'm not a collector? What, do you think you'll be safe even after messing with us? Do y'all receive the same macro instruction? How is it that you all say the same things? Ah, let go. Okay, spill where your office is. Why do you want to know where our office is? Do you regret what you've done all of a sudden? Do you think I asked so I can apologize for kicking your asses? Of course, it's so I can pull the problem out at the roots with the other guys. Let's see, so your office is at 72 Sealwar Road. You, who sent you, what are you going to do with us? I don't really have a particular plan on what to do with you. I'm not going to do anything more, just... I'll go to your office and make a mess. Then I'll spill your names and say that I found the office easily thanks to you. What, you bastard, who do you think will believe you? With your experience, you must know how they treat traitors in this industry, you crazy bastard. Yeah, I love that term. If a soundproofing layer is engraved here, no sound will leak out to think that the engraver title I got from waking Bikrion up would be this convenient. Are you okay? Those people, I sent them off well. Since I'm a teller, dealing with these things is simple. Besides, they probably won't come back, so you don't need to worry. Then I'll be off. Ah, yes, thank you so much for today. Then let's go take care of my other work. What they, an enemy, which bastard? How many came for such a fuss to occur? There's just one. How did you find out about this place? Your subordinate outside just told me. How dare you come here? He's a collector. If they can hire collectors, they must have someone strong backing them up. I unexpectedly baited a big fish. Kill him. You bastard. How? Why, never seen a night before. Come at me all at once. Who are you? Don't you know what happens when collectors touch civilians? I don't think you guys should be the ones saying that. And regardless of what you say, you can't do anything to me legally. What are you? I've heard of him, a collector of incredible power who still works underground. Collectors who double as murder contractors. I don't know who sent him, but he must be aiming for that. I'll give you the resources, please just spare me. Resources, he must have misunderstood, although it's a good thing for me. Yeah, give it, here it is. These resources, I expected it, but to think a criminal organization would be colluding with a clan, Hanwell clan, which kicked Suryan out, and the other is Twilight Curtain clan. Twilight Curtain collectors mostly contract with the Pentagram Department. Does that mean the Pentagram Department is involved too? But why is the Twilight Curtain involved with the real estate industry? Business related to collectors in this area is perhaps a mind realm. A mind realm hidden in a place that even the government doesn't know, and if a certain clan is purposely hiding that location and trying to monopolize it. Hey, you, take out what's in that safe too. What? No, I can't. The fact that he's denying it so strongly means something really important is inside. Well, there's no helping it if he won't open it himself. Move to the observers. Where did the safe go? Gosh, look at me. All your subordinates are in that state, so it's a bit much to just leave you fine, right? Pardon. Observer's room. They sure made it so it won't open no matter what. Well, considering the possibility of hacking, it's better to leave things analog like this instead of in data. But it's no problem if I use the engraver ability. This is bigger than I expected. How should I use this precious information? Boss, we feel wronged. Yes, we didn't do anything. You didn't do anything. If you hadn't spilled, that crazy bastard wouldn't have come to our office. Ugh. Is this it? Welcome, Superintendent. I heard the news. Is it true that our secret business major information was spilled because of one mere person? So, it's not like that. He took the safe, but I don't think he'll be able to open it. You know what that safe is like. It's clear what'll happen if he tries to open it. Are these the bastards, the ones who didn't handle the work properly? Yes, it's them. I see. I'll let you go with just these three for today, since you were good with handling work until today. Really, thank you. So it was just one person who came here. Do you remember how he looked? Pardon, of course. He. Huh, that's strange. How did he look again? We definitely talked. So he blocked recognition. If he's that capable, he's definitely an expert in this field. If someone like him took the safe, he'll open the safe using whatever means possible and check the contents. Pull out of all offices in this neighborhood. If anyone reveals what happened today, you will see us again. Yes, sir. How dare he fearlessly touch the twilight curtain? I will make you pay. Wow. This is Celestial Body Inc. I've only heard of it. This is my first time seeing it. Who are those guys in armor? Are they tellers like you? No, those are Guardian Office tellers, and they are a bit different from me. Guardian Office tellers obtain the equipment of Guardian armor, which allows them to get stronger and grants them incredible power to fight enemies. Power to fight enemy, what the? So it's like a power suit. Depending on their rank, the level of armor they receive is different. If they reach department head level, even a first-gen divine spirit can't ignore them. Of course, it is limited in number. What the? I can feel a gaze. Who's looking this way? Hey Kang Yuhyun, what you doing? We'll be late for the promotion ceremony at this rate. Oh yeah, was I wrong? Kek, so that guy is Kang Yuhyun. It's been such a long time since we've had a fun guy. The eyes that looked up here and the flames of desire that flickered within them. Just how much can he show us? I hope you can show a very interesting story to light up this mixed world, young teller. I suddenly got chills. Suddenly, are you nervous or something? No, I also felt like someone was looking at me earlier. That wasn't just a feeling, I could feel a gaze from the top where you looked up at earlier. You didn't say anything, so I thought you knew and moved on. What? So that wasn't just a feeling, up there are usually high-ranking people. If so, was it? One of the first tellers, Celestial Body Inc.'s CEO, Junuang Lotpiet. But for that Lotpiet to be looking at me, the first tellers are as strong as first-generation divine spirits. No, let's think positively. I'm still one of the tellers in his company, so he won't be opposed to me. Well then, it'll be okay to ignore it for now. Hey Kang Yuhyun, hurry up. The promotion ceremony's about to begin. Please clap for all those being promoted. Oh, so that's Kang Yuhyun. I heard he gave up his blessing to already be promoted to a senior associate. What incredible speed. Everyone's just looking at you. Well, of course I am getting promoted with a bang after all. Everyone is interested in me, even the CEO here. This would have been impossible for the me of before. Let's keep going forward, continuing on like this in the future. No, working even harder than now. What? The promotion ceremony is nothing compared to what I expected. To think it'd end after just receiving applause. All promotion ceremonies are like that anyway. Let's quickly get out of here. What the? Where are you going all of a sudden? If we don't leave right now, we'll receive countless department transfer offers. We need to run before things get annoying. Do you have somewhere to run? Of course. What's with this stuffy room? You are. Gosh, I guess we can say it's been a while. It's been almost a month. Elder, how have you been? I heard you were promoted to a senior associate. You heard? The rumors have already spread widely. It would be stranger for me not to know. Then the fact that you come again must be because of the promise from back then. I can't call you Elder forever. Galiaz. My name is Galiaz. Galiaz, the guardian of the Dragon King Galiaz. What's wrong? Who is he? There are all sorts of stories within the long history of the mixed world. Have you heard of the great divine force Dragonica? It's the gathering of dragon divine spirits where all kinds of dragon species come together. Among them, there are the top 7, and in the mixed world, we call them the Dragon Kings. They were strong from birth and got stronger as they grew older. Among the dragon species, they were the most suitable to wield the title of king. However, among the 7 dragon kings, there was one who was weak from the start. Sharuriel, the white dragon king who came out in the Guardian of the Dragon King story. Unlike all dragon kings who were called kings from birth, the white dragon king is said to have been born physically and mentally weak. To the dragon species who revered strength, weakness was a sin. Naturally, it is said that the white dragon king was treated with disdain and disregard even by members of his own race. But a being like that, with the help of a teller, the entity that receives the most scorn from dragons. Dragons despised tellers because they never fought themselves and only narrated stories from behind the scenes. This made it impossible for dragons and tellers to become close, but one teller did something unbelievable. It was surprising enough that he made a dragon the main character of his story, but more shocking still was that the main character of that story had risen to the position of Dragon King. That unbelievable achievement made everyone call Sharuriel's teller the Guardian of the Dragon King. And that guardian's name was Gallias. Judging from your reaction, you must have heard of me. Don't be too shocked, it's already a deed of the past, but it actually happened. Why is someone of that stature working in an obscure place like this? I chose it. If you run without resting, you'll go crazy. If I retire later, should I work here? Are you serious? I'm joking. I've never even thought of retiring. I asked something stupid. You're at a time where you're busy running forward. What a time. You can do it too, elder. What? Age means nothing. The moment you decide to do it, the moment your passion ignites is your greatest moment. The moment your passion ignites is your greatest moment. 10 minutes left until the end of the promotion ceremony. Darn, looks like our prodigy over here has spent too much time with a retired old man. Time to head back, don't you think? Yes, I should. Elder Gallias, I'll come visit again. I'm excited to share an interesting conversation next time too. Yes. It's quiet around, the tellers must have all left. Nice, I should use this chance to get to the station and return to Earth. What the? Did you just come out of the records room? Yes, I did. Oh dear, there are still tellers around. Huh. A golden book? Incredible. Does that mean she's a department head? Are you on good terms with the old man here? Ah, yes. I've had a few conversations with Gallias. Oh, you even know his name. You aren't an average fellow. Oh yeah, there was a regular worker who got promoted to senior associate in 1 month, right? Are you that rumored teller, Kang Yuhyun? Yes, that's me. Kaya, you were the real deal. Nice to meet you. I'm Celestina. You sure are fascinating to know the old man and oh wait, is that rumor true, that you gave up your blessing and are fighting with your collector? Yes, it is. Yeah, a teller should have that much vigor and aspiration. Kids these days all just use the same method to tell the same stories. It's so boring. Yeah, it's nice to meet you. Do you want to come to our department? I'm from the storytelling office. Brat, I'm telling you because I'm from the storytelling office too. The Celestial Being Department. Have you heard of it, that department? The Celestial Being Department is run by a few elites. They do not rashly recruit talent to their department, and each of the selected tellers is so talented that they are ranked high in their class. It is a very unusual place for a department within the storytelling office, where size is often viewed as a measure of power. I thought not anyone could join that department. Is it okay for you to recruit me so quickly? Of course, I'm the department head, and I don't extend an offer to just anyone. So what do you think? Do you want to join our department? I'll make it worth your while. Are you thinking, after refusing all the other bastards' offers so quickly, our department is pretty awesome? It's a lot less restrictive than the other departments and the department that would best suit someone like me who runs wild, but I apologize. I don't think I can. I decided from the beginning not to belong anywhere and to do things alone. You passed a perfect pass. I get why you're close with the old man too, and you're quite passionate, which is rare to see among tellers these days. Pardon? Ah, thank you. Offering again would have the same result, right? I don't plan on changing my decision, but that doesn't mean there isn't an opportunity to get close to the celestial being department.
What?
I'm saying that you can hire me as a type of freelancer or mercenary, and when the opportunity comes, we can work together. Ha, how bold of you. Are you saying you alone are on equal footing with an entire department? If an ordinary guy said that, I would have sent him flying, but coming from you, it sounds like a lot of fun. Well, when it comes to helping each other out later, of course, that's possible. It's not a bad idea to build a relationship with you. Of course, that doesn't mean that I'll help you unconditionally. There has to be some give and take. You agree with that, right? Yes, I don't like to give or receive help without anything in return either. It's good that we agree. If the opportunity comes, let's sit down and talk more about it later. I need to go meet the old man now. Yes, goodbye. Oh, right. If you're storytelling on Earth right now, the pentagram department bastards are there too, right? Watch out for them. They definitely won't leave a teller like you alone. Yes, thank you for the advice. I'm already in a hostile relationship with Pentagram, so I'm already extremely vigilant, but it's okay. I'm planning to destroy them myself.